right, this is the moment y'all been waiting on all night. You didn't know it, but this is the moment y'all been waiting on. I'm officially gonna let Mono Neon loose. And y'all about to get all the funk. Y'all give it up for Mono Neon.
What is up, everybody? Yeah, I'm out here pretty late. I know. But we got to get the show going, you guys. And I'm trying to stay consistent with my Sunday shows. And we got a little issue with got a little short on my wire there. I got to watch the way I move now, huh? Anyhow, let me make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, so and this kind of cuts into Brother Kev's live show. So if you guys should know that Kev, Black Man being brutally honest, he has his show going on right now. So I do not want this to conflict with what he's doing. But we're gonna get things started. Right? And I guess he doesn't need any introduction here. So we got the one and only Dr. Randy Short. How's it going, Dr. Short?
All is well as far as I know. How's it with you?
Yes, it's going. Life is a journey.
It's a journey. Okay. That's good. It's all very interesting. Now, how many people are with you? Do you know?
Oh, you mean as far as in the views?
Yeah. Yes.
We're looking at 5 people.
Mm.
And these are ghost watchers too, by the way. So I guess they're waiting to see which one of us is going to put our foot in our mouth. So
I don't think I wouldn't think negatively like that. In fact, something's got to go in our mouths. We're people. So don't worry about it like that. Don't ever worry about things like that.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so basically, I think what we had on the menu, I think once it was the let me make sure I get it right. It's right here. Da-da-da. It's the Genocide Act bill.
Genocide bill. That's what we call it.
Yes, it's the HR 4321.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then most likely we're going to get into, I guess, some of the shenanigans of the Florida governor.
Yes, and we're going to get into the shenanigans of what's going on in Africa. Obama has finally, his wicked plan that he launched with Hillary Clinton has finally begun to really get out of order. So we can talk. Yep, change and hope. Well, now you got it. Got all those coups in Africa. And it looks like you're going to have a regional war in a little bit if cooler heads don't prevail. And it may be a war where you're going to see people again sending war material and other things to some country. Weapons are going to be sent to Africa for Africans to be killed. And we'll be paying for it. The same folks who can't give reparations to us are going to find in their heart for weapons and all to kill people in the mother country. Go figure.
That's going to be interesting. It's like, oh, we don't have money for reparations. Oh, wait a minute. We got some money for weapons, though. Okay. Yeah, we found that. Matter of fact, it's the same amount as that we could be used for reparations, but hey, we got enough to kill people. So,
especially black people. Oh, but of course.
Yeah. So that makes more sense, right? And shout out to DJ B-Sides in the building. We got Desert Anime, and we got I'm Listening. Appreciate you guys coming through. As you can hear, we got Dr. Short here. If you guys want to contribute to his cause, check out the information where his Zelle pay and all the other stuff. It's in the description box.
It's also, in the stated out loud. People that don't read. So just let them know that along with one of my wonderful sisters, actually a couple of my sisters, we've established a group called BACPAC, the Black American Constitutional Political Action Committee. And the goal of it will be a lobby political advocacy group. We have partners in several cities: Philadelphia, Galveston, Tupelo, Mississippi, Atlanta. We have partners in Baltimore, Chicago, and other places. And we are taking up a couple of causes. One, we're going to war with H.R. 4321, which is a bill before the House Government Oversight Committee. The whole plan on that is to do for reparations what DeSantis is trying to do with Black history. And it's a very serious thing, and most people haven't said or done much. You haven't heard any major entities, with the exception of the Atlanta Black Star newspaper, and with the exception of Essence Magazine. No Black entity other than ourselves has complained about the fact that H.R. 4321, if it were to pass, and it's got a good chance of getting out of committee on the floor of Congress and passing by Republican vote, it would make it illegal for anything to be done to help Black people around reparations in this country.
Okay.
Permanently.
So I have your press release there.
And so we got to get ourselves together now, and we have to stop that, because if they ever get to the point where they can literally make it a crime, or it's not so much a crime, something that you penalize states and counties for, if people do anything for us, trust me, people are going to take that to the next level and just refuse to do anything for Black people on the basis that they don't want to lose access to tax money, to government funding, which effectively locks our people out of money that we pay to the government. Not only reparations, but everything. So Head Start, TRIO.
Oh, is that my computer?
Things to incentivize people going to study science or mathematics, or to train new Black doctors or dentists. Everything under the sun that's ever been done for us could be listed as reparations, and because people don't want to lose federal monies, they'll simply not give anything to blacks so they can justify getting government funding. That's what they have set up. It's insidious. And who were the people who came up with this idea? Well, their name is ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council. It is a group of white racists who are based and connected to white supremacists in Congress. Yes, they are. And white supremacists, evangelicals, and everybody else. What do? What is their mission? Their mission is to make certain that none of us get anything. In fact, what has ALEC been doing since it's been around for 40 years? It is partnered with racists, white evangelicals, and others. And their purpose is to fight everything that Black people acquired or got during the Civil Rights era. Again, let me repeat that. ALEC's mission is to put Black people back in chains. This is an organization based in Northern Virginia, and they're the ones who pass or draft up legislation, and they give it to state legislatures and to members of Congress to pass the most anti-Black laws, and they've been doing it for 40 years. They're behind the Stand Your Ground. They're behind all the stuff that you see. Whenever you see something crazy law, that just, you wonder where it comes from. These are people who are angry with the fact that Black people aren't slaves. Excuse me. And they're the people who are behind ALEC. They're the people who drafted this bill. It's been handed to a white supremacist by the name of Brian Babin, who's a white congressman, who's from Texas, whose family, his family, are slaveholding white supremacists with connections to the Ku Klux Klan, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, the White League, and other groups that murdered thousands of Black people in his grandparents' home state of Louisiana. That's what you've got here. These are people, if you can get into their history, they have been, particularly in Louisiana, a type of people who've been fighting against Black people getting anything for 160 years.
So what's keeping them in circulation? What's keeping them alive?
White money and the fact that nobody Black fights these people. We don't fight people, man. We accept things. We may defeat, or a bill may get defeated in the House, and you know what? People will be happy for that half of a victory, and they won't go after the root. The root of this is we have to go to war. These people are at war with us, and we have to get on a war footing as a people or we're damned. And I didn't say hate anybody, but if you sit up for 40 years trying to create legislation, and
I don't know if that's him or me. Is that him or me? Because I think, okay. We see you now, Dr. Short.
yeah, but it's me.
Oh, okay.
They've written up over 3,000 bills. And do you know, over 600 of their bills, many of them anti-Black, have passed in legislatures and in the Congress. And their mission is to destroy us. There's a genocide agenda being executed by ALEC. Do you have anything on ALEC to share with your people? Do you need me to send you something?
If you want to, you can send it to me and I can put it in the chat so everybody can look at it.
Let me see if I can get something right now. Are you listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay, now let me see if I can find this thing.
My phone.
I'm about to send it to you right now.
Okay. And don't
I
forget, you guys see Randy Short's information that's scrolling on the bottom. You know, his PayPal is no, not PayPal. His Zelle is linked with this
and
website,
the
and then you
PayPal and yeah, the PayPal and the Zelle are my email. So yep,
okay.
if you could do that, it doesn't matter. If people do $1, I have quite a few supporters all over. If all of them gave me $1 in a month or $2, oh my God, we're already steaming up. You begin to see us just put out stuff. We're looking at some other things. I want to mention to you, it's not limited to just HR 4321. Pretty soon, you're going to see us attack the fraud in the school systems. I'm looking forward to doing something here in DC. We're going to be exposing Black corruption. There's some people abusing some Black youth. I can't say what city, but we're going to get them. We have a project already. Our project is based in Mississippi, where we are looking at, we have a thing called the Innocence Project, where we are helping, developing from the ground up, a thing to fight against human trafficking and the enslavement of Black women and girls with the partner. And so, and there are many, many other things that we're working on. Believe it or not, our biggest problem has been people quitting or people not sticking to us, like not listening to what we tried to get them to do. For example, someone will reach out to us and ask us, can we help them? And we say, okay, yes. We're going to need you to help contribute to what we're doing because we can't do it for nothing. And I'll tell you something, a lot of people don't get it. But brother, when you work with our community, a lot of our people let you down. If you don't make them give something, they'll waste your time. You'll be all out there pushing for them. And one day they'll decide, well, I'm not interested in fighting anymore. Screw you. And your time, your energy, your efforts, your hours, gone, zeroed out without any notice.
Mm-hmm.
Are you understanding me? So
yes, sir.
I've learned you got to get people to put something down. Now, if you call a Black attorney, normally these people want $10, $20, $30, $40,000 just to look at you. Most people don't have that. What we try to do is get people to give something.
Uh-oh, they got him again. Unless that's him. No, that's me. No, that's him because he froze. But y'all can still see me, right? Yeah, when he gets back. But yeah, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And again, I don't want to interfere with Black Man being brutally honest because that's part of his time. But this was the earliest time slot we can do because we had to move it from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock today. Dr. Short, are you back?
I hope so.
Okay. Okay. So continue because you got delayed again. I wonder why.
Okay. Oh, no, because are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, they don't. People think that this harassment of Black folks who speak up, you don't even have to be that big a person. I want to bring to people's attention that Fred Hampton, the gentleman who was shot down on December 4th, 1969, first got the attention of the FBI and others as a teenager, long before he became a member of the Black Panthers in Chicago. Are y'all hearing me? Before he even became a member of the Black Panthers in Chicago. Before. Which means that they were watching kids playing, trying to figure out who. And in your city of Los Angeles, the police go around doing profiles of children when they're 5, 6, and 7 years old. There's a documentary that talks about it called Fire This Time. You can find it. Fire This Time by Rhino. It's a video documentary about the police targeting Black people in Los Angeles, that they're looking and hounding the kids, Black male children, by the way, Black women who think they have it so much harder. Nobody's bothering Black girls who are 6 and 7. They're looking at Black boys when they're 5, 6, 7 years old to target them as enemies of the state. Okay, for all the people that don't know about that, at 5, 6, 7 years old, they're targeting Black boys. For all the folks who want to say women are the backbone, seems like they'd be after women when they're 5, 6, and 7. It ain't so. The backbone of a people are the men. I don't care who doesn't like it. Goddamn feminists, goddamn pork chop feminists. That shit has to go. And Backpack will be at war with feminism. That's going to be driven out of our community, whether people like it or not. That stuff has to go. And we're gonna drive that out. You hear me? It's Kevin Samuels, they may have bumped him off. They're gonna have to get a lot more to make this thing go away. Yeah. We're gonna have patriarchy back in our country, back in our community. You hear me?
I'm listening.
Patriarchy we're gonna bring it back. White supremacy and the form of feminism has soured folks on having men in the family. We're going to bring that back. And that's going to be on other ways. We're going to even be challenging some of these no good Black churches, no good Black denominations that don't speak up. Those coons in the National Congress of Black Churches that are being silent about 4321. They're being silent about the stuff in Florida. But they were vocal. They were vocal about abortion. Vocal about gay rights. Wow. Negro leadership fighting for gay rights and fighting for illegals and fighting for abortion and silent about Black folk getting killed. Silent about them. Well, because, look, let's be honest, that's the other reason. We're going to deal with, we got to deal with traitors in our community. And we're going to be doing it with it in a very intelligent way, because we can't have this go on much longer. We don't have forever as a people to dither and dally. If you look at what's happening in your Los Angeles, how the Black folks have been literally driven out of everything, right?
Right.
That's the recipe for the rest of the country, to basically kick us out of everything. And Black folks in particular, I'm going to say who, Black Democrat or die leadership has systematically chosen the side of a party over a people. Backpack as a political action committee will be waging war on people who do not look out for us. And in the form of even supporting candidates to run for office and so forth. We look at this as being an incredible opportunity. So we're starting now, and with people's help, and folk have been helping us. I'm very happy about that. I don't see anything that's going to stop us from making the kind of impact that we need to make. Now, let me just get back to Alec and let people know that if any of you got insurance through the Affordable Care Act, what they call Obamacare, you need to know that Alex is against the Affordable Care Act. They want to make certain that we don't have health care. They know that makes people die. Yet we've got organizations well-funded with a mission to do things passively to kill us.
Now, didn't Donald Trump try? Didn't he declare to do something about the Obamacare, like to repeal it or something like that?
They didn't get anywhere because the broke-ass white people in the South who know where their bones are buried they didn't support it. People came out and they got up off of it. Obamacare is far from perfect. What people wanted and what they should have had was single payer. They didn't get it. Let's be honest with each other. However, something is way better than absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, whatever Obamacare costs, if Obamacare was breaking the budget, then why they have anything to send to Ukraine? That's an illegal, unfair, aggressive war against Russia that they've been waging slowly, diplomatically, and economically since the early 90s. So I don't care about how people feel about Obamacare when they've got weaponry and aid and they're paying Social Security benefits and everything to people in Ukraine, and they can't do anything for folks here. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's now. Man, I want to get into that reparations thing. We could probably, well, that kind of ties in with it. I mean, shoot, since we're talking about it, the official election date is the first Tuesday of November of next year, correct? 2024.
I don't know when the election thing is. Pardon me, I don't know. But if you know, I'll go with what you have.
It's definitely not this November, right? So
no, it's not this November.
So So I'm looking at. I mean, I guess I just have to ask you. Obviously, what's his name? Biden said that. I mean, according to his words, he said that we're not going to even talk about reparations unless the Native Americans get theirs. That's what Biden said.
The point is that this is why I find the Pan-African people very dangerous in our community. We have both lineages, Native American and African. We should get both of them. It's a crime that we aren't getting the Native American stuff. It's ours too. Now, however you want to call us, however you want to label us. However, I'm not trying to be funny. Okay, I grew up in the family. We learned about the Niger Valley and Egypt, and I'm all for Africa and African things. However, as I'll say to anyone, you start sending me to the family reunions, and the people look like they're Chinese, and the people look like they're from every place but Africa. And I'm thinking, okay, Africans are at least kind of brown with maybe curly hair and all. What the hell are we? I don't see anybody here except for a handful of us that look like we're from Africa. What are we? Who are we? And if you said they're not white, okay, they don't look white. Well, what are these people? Who are we? That was my question as a child. My God. I mean, I'm a reasonable person. Tell me what we are. But you can't tell me when a person looks like they're from the Kung Fu TV show and you're going to tell me they're from Africa and you're 100% African and everybody's just Africa. That's garbage. I resent that because having African origin isn't so weak that we have to run around denying who and what we are to make people feel comfortable. So, goddamn the Pan-Africanists who are so weak in their identity that we have to pretend that we don't have any connection to the people that were already here, that we are some of the people that were already here. Who would forsake 9 million square miles of land over some bullshit kente cloth pride? That's what these people are pushing, some kente cloth pride. I get it that you need to belong somewhere and you feel lonely in America and all of that, but we don't throw all the facts out the window. Nobody throws away millions of square miles of land, millions of acres over a damn humbug, except for Pan-Africanists, the dumbest ass people in our race. And it is not denying a connection to Africa. That is not what I'm doing. But God damn it, we're here too. Nobody
Right.
gives up land. This land doesn't belong to the people who are oppressing us. You don't see them trying to give up no land. So it's a cop-out. It's a retreat. That's why they'll have Pan-African courses in the universities, but you don't have anything showing the linkages of the original Aboriginal Black people here. In fact, Black people are Aboriginal to the whole planet. But the Pan-Africanists, along with white supremacists, say only Black people in Africa. So what about New Guinea? What about Melanesia? What about the people in Taiwan? What about the Mio people in China? What about the Laplanders? What about the Black people all over the damn face of the earth? What about the Ainu in Japan? Liar, Pan-Africanists, you are goddamn liars. You're telling us to give up what little we have here for something that's not certain in Africa. I'm not knocking Africa. Africa's rich, but who owns the resources in Africa? And damn it, don't you say Africans. They're in the hands of white corporations who have armies, African armies, fighting to help exploit Africa. Who do you think they'll kill if you go to Africa with your Pan-Africanist ideas, talking about Africa for the Africans? Who do you think they'll kill? Who do you think those Africans armed and trained by America will kill if you go over to Africa acting like, ooh, Africa's free, Africa's my home? They'll shoot your ass down just like a race soldier here. So the immaturity, the bullshit of these people who are not sophisticated, they're not intelligent, they have no integrity, they have no honesty, who are selling you an African dream that they can't deliver. I'm not saying that Africa's not pretty. I'm not saying Africa's not beautiful. I haven't said that Africans aren't our brothers or we're not African, in part at least. But I am saying what Booker T. Washington said, cast down your motherfucking buckets where you are. I get something here. Africans are coming here and becoming rich. Africans will sell and abuse one another to come here. And when they hear about people coming to Africa, a lot of them laugh. Why are they laughing? It isn't that Africa's not rich. It isn't that Africa doesn't have resources, but you got tribalism in Africa. Africans that will fucking kill you if they think you're in a group of people that they hate without knowing who you are. Have you really been to Africa off of the tourist routes, away from your handlers that want you to invest, liar Pan-Africanists? Have you ever walked the streets in Africa by yourself and people not know where you're from and presume you're in one group or the other? First time I went to Africa as a teenager, I got lost. And the people did not like me, some of them. Nope, they didn't think I was from America. They thought I was in a tribe of people that they don't like. So they wouldn't help me. Screw you. Screw you and your people. I mean, that's what happened in 1983. Wow, 40 years ago. 40 years ago in July, I was in Senegal and I was in Niger in June 40 years ago. And I was in Niger and the people don't know me. I don't know you. We don't like your people. Screw you. There is no perfect place. There's no utopia for Black people. Utopia is where we make it. Utopia is where we're willing to shed blood, sweat, and tears to have sanctuary, like they did in Maroon communities. That's when you have something. Anyone telling you that if you just go somewhere else, things will magically get better, they've got one of two things in mind. Either you're going to go in to another land and you're going to eventually have to become something else, or you're going to go in as a Black settler like our Negroes in Sierra Leone and Liberia that have a hostile relationship with the people who have a stronger ancestral connection to the land where they were placed. And it's really bad in Liberia, and they really don't like each other in Liberia or Sierra Leone. And those lands are always poised for ethnic killing and fighting. Real talk. Pan-Africanists need to stop lying. And so right now, there are regional conflicts all over Africa, ethnic conflicts all over Africa. And folks want to know which group you're in. You don't have to deal with that pretty much in America if you're black for all of its problems. You might find someone black that's not trying to fight you. In Africa, it can get funky real fast and you stand out. Speaking of that, let's just segue off of 3321 and just go to Niger for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about a coup in Niger. They got
Go ahead.
Niger is a country in the Sahel. It's bordered by Nigeria, Chad, Libya, Burkina Faso, Mali, and I forget which other country, but it's okay. Maybe Ivory Coast. And I want to say to you, they've had a coup. They want the president, who is a friend of America and France, out. They have had him under house arrest. The United States and the it's called ECOWAS, Economic Community of West Africa, which has a military group called ECOMOG. ECOWAS, the United States and France want these soldiers who were trained by the United States, AFRICOM, which stands for Africa Command. And for all you coons that voted for Hillary and Obama, they've militarized Africa and set Africa up for warfare in the Sahel. It's a strip of land that extends from Senegal to Sudan. That means it cuts all the way, it cuts across Africa in half. They've already planned to make that the theater of war in the 21st century. Your President Obama and Hillary Clinton, they've dumped weapons and arms and training to prepare militaries to fight and kill. They want the Chinese and Russians and to kill Africans who are Islamic and radicalized. This was set in motion back when they got rid of Gaddafi, and they finalized things 10 years ago in 2013. And ever since they put AFRICOM in Africa, there's been one coup after the other in these countries. So as I speak, recently there was a coup in Burkina Faso, also known as Upper Volta. If you're familiar with it, you know that Thomas Sankara in 1983, thereabout, or just thereafter, took over. They had him assassinated by a stooge named Campoari. They threw Campoari out in 2017 or 2018, and they've had a constant turnover since. There was a coup in Guinea, and there was an attempted coup in Mali. So let me see. Just on the 28th, the head of state in Guinea has demanded that all Americans get out of his country. By today, people, every American has no legal right to be in Guinea. It's a country in West Africa that borders Senegal, Burkina Faso, Liberia, some other countries. Go look the shit up. I'm just telling you, their head of state said all Americans out. So you got Niger, which has been threatened by ECOWAS again, the Economic Community of West Africa, which has a military arm called ECOMOG. In the late 80s, early 90s, ECOMOG went into both Sierra Leone and Liberia. It's primarily comprised of the Nigerian army. Those folks are threatening to invade Niger in 6 days if they don't turn the government back over to their president, their first elected president, who was elected within the last year. They've have him locked up and won't turn him out. These people have refused. As of yesterday, the people were in the streets waving Russian flags and set fire to the walls of the French embassy. Mali, which has been assisted by France and the United States since 2010, has been fighting people in the northern half of the country. Niger, Mali, all these countries are super mineral rich. They're all in the French economic community. And the French have been stealing everything that they could since these countries got their independence between 1960 and 1964. So Guinea looks like it is going to end having relations with the United States. That happened before, where Guinea had its first head of state, Sékou Touré, who came to power in 1958, told white folks, in particular the French, get the hell out of our country. They were enemies, had no relationship with the United States from the 50s into literally the late 90s. Mali is in a civil war state, depending on the northern half of the country. And the Malians, all of them want one thing, and I need to add this element. Hillary Clinton, the little lesbian that a lot of you broads vote for, black women are always on the wrong side of things. When they see a woman, they assume she's good, except for when they're screwing her man, even if she's not screwing her man. Go figure.
Wow.
Hillary Clinton put the French back in control of their former colonies. And it's America backing the French, robbing and stealing from Africans. And that started with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama helping the French mass murder people in Ivory Coast and imprison the rightfully elected president, President Gbagbo, who they put in jail, who's been released, was put in jail in Europe. He won. And that's all because this man wanted his resources to be used for his own people. The people in Mali want the French out. The people in Burkina want the French out. The people in Niger want the French out. The people in Chad want the French out. Everybody wants France out. The French have an economic arrangement with their former black colonies that basically they get 65% of the country's gross domestic product every year. Imagine someone taking 66% of your money before you even get to spend it. The French are supposed to be safe keeping this money for the African countries, but they never get it.
Shoot.
These people are rebelling against slavery that America is enforcing. And the only thing that America has been offering these African countries since Obama came in was abortion, homosexuality, GMO foods, and dangerous contraceptives, in particular Depo-Provera, the Depo shot that kills women. Africans are tired. We may end up having a major regional war that breaks down around ethnic and religious lines. And it's all been caused by policies started by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, continued by no good Joe Biden and Susan Rice, a no good black Jamaican American tether. That's what you got. These Pan-Africanists tell you about Africa. Do you realize? And I was just thinking, if I was African and America was oppressing my country, and I wanted America to get a message to leave us the F alone, what would I do to send a message? What's the weakest point? What's a place that's unprotected that would make an impact on American society to show how angry I was? And you know what came to my mind?
What's that?
There are 150,000 black people from the United States in Ghana that are conspicuous. You can spot them. They're going to start kidnapping and killing black American expatriates in Africa. Watch the Pan-Africanists blow that shit off when it starts happening. You heard it here. You heard it on your show. Folk going to get shot. Folks going to get bombed. Folks going to get attacked.
So
and you know what? The State Department's going to give an advisory to encourage people to not travel to Africa. Watch. What are the Pan-Africanists? What are you liars with your fucking kufis on going to do? When they kill people who wear the kente cloth, who got the a drink of symbols on, that are living their lives out in Ghana as Pan-Africanists, are you going to protect them? Do you have any relationship to lobby that there be something? You going to give them guns? You can't just own guns in Africa. What are you going to do? You liars, you phonies who don't talk about the reality of Africa.
So, Dr. Short, we got a contributor. His name is Mississippi Delta Guy. He says, "Get the French out Africa," and it says, "Jetties les Français d'Afrique." So this is what I give him. I give him the acknowledgement for that. So here we go.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We need the French to get the hell out of Africa. The French are parasites. You know, I did that interview. It's on Let's Talk 2. Let's Talk 2. And the interview was France is Africa's F word.
Oh. Okay.
France is Africa's F word.
Now they're pretty much leaving slowly, aren't they? Or are they still trying to keep their heels over there?
No. The French aren't leaving. France is dead without being able to steal from Africa. The France that you know that you think is so cool, it's paid for with black suffering. West Africans dying for the French to live their style. That's why France's economy holds up. They've been stealing. How did France rebuild itself after World War II? They began killing and super exploiting people in Africa. Right after World War II, the French killed somewhere between 30 to 50,000 people in Madagascar. Never fought the Germans like that for France, but sure killed some Africans, killed their soldiers, wouldn't pay them, and then murdered them when they asked for the money. How many people know that there were black soldiers who fought for France in World War II? And the Nazis tortured and abused them and starved them. And they never got anything, no recognition, nothing. And people talk about the miracle of Dunkirk, where the 200,000 plus British soldiers and the British expeditionary force that was in France and some 120,000 French soldiers escaped from the beaches of Dunkirk in northwestern France on the coast. Who was fighting tooth and nail to keep the Germans from breaking through to do a massacre of French and British soldiers? They were black West African soldiers who were the unsung heroes of World War II. The French aren't shit.
Yeah,
and you know, the Pan-Africanists, the parts of Africa they like the best is Senegal. And they're the most French of all the people in Africa, and love them some Senegal. And I'm not anti-Senegalese, but the Senegalese were assimilated. They're more French. In fact, the French had this whole thing called évolués. It means evolved. You're no longer African. You're so French. You're just a brown Frenchman. You're not African anymore.
So we got another message from Mississippi Delta guy. He says, French is sucking Africa dry. Appreciate you, fam. Let me see. Let me give him his little, God damn, my computer.
He's telling the truth. And the Pan-Africanists, they always boast about, they always boast about how the French let Du Bois and them have their Pan-African meetings in France. Well, it doesn't mean anything if they're not setting your ass free. That's like letting you have a meeting in your house that you've been evicted from. What the hell does that mean?
And Mississippi Delta guy also said France is second and third world without Africa.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
France is nothing without Africa. And the French have contributed to millions of Africans dying. The French did the same genocide in Congo, Brazzaville that the Belgians did in Congo, Kinshasa. The French are killers. The French are racist. The French are monsters. Fact. And they're second only to the Anglo-Americans. Behind the English and the American racists come the French. The Germans have to run to catch up. These Pan-Africanists need to grow up and stop lying to the people. By the way, for all you and your feelings, shut the fuck up and listen. Nobody said that we don't like Africa. Nobody said we don't want Africans and us to get along, work together. Nobody's talking shit like that. So if that's what you're hearing, it's because you're psychotic. And you're all in your emotions. If you know anything about fighting, you're a boxer. If you get into your emotions, you get your ass beat. because you can't think. Our people need to get off their emotions, come off of how you feel, and start dealing with what really is happening.
That's right.
So look at what's happening right now all over Africa. There's a war in Sudan that America has started with this punk ass Blinken, the one who keeps trying to push gayness in Africa. I'm certain that there's some gay Africans. There are gay people everywhere. People act like sucking dick is new. People act like munching carpet is new. People are always going to do something they have no business doing. But who has ever made two dudes sucking dick a foreign policy?
Yeah.
Damn.
Every time we talk about it, we get gaslight. It's crazy.
Damn. I didn't say that people could. I ain't trying to do that, but I'm not trying to make anybody do anything. How does that become a policy? And why is it just for Africans? Don't you think those Arabs that are all uptight, don't they think they need to suck a little something? With them little guttural sounds and stuff in their language, they sound like they suck something. Huh. Why don't you push this stuff in Asia? And, and the rice stick countries, maybe they need that. It's so small, no woman will take you. Maybe you give her a break, right? You deserve a break today. It's like, look, there's a war in Sudan. If you know anything about Africa, you know that the borders were drawn by Europeans at the Berlin West Africa Conference in 1884-85. Mm-hmm. So when you say Sudan, those borders cut up people. So there are people who live in Sudan who have blood relatives right over in Chad. When you have a war in Sudan, in West Sudan, it always goes into Chad. And Chad can spread into Cameroons and Nigeria and Libya and into Niger. I'm just telling you. In fact, they had the head of state, Denby, who used to be a dictator, now he's a Democrat. He just met with the head huncher man in Niger to tell them that we're going to come in. The problem is this. If you start this and this becomes a religious conflict, you're going to set off fighting all over Africa as quietly as it's kept for all the little fake Pan-Africanists. I keep baiting you, bitch niggas, liars. How many of them know that in Nigeria you have an ongoing religious war where Muslims and Christians kill each other? My partner I was talking to you about was working with some youth in Nigeria. On one day, someone set the school that she had funded on fire, killing 66 kids were burned alive. Wow. In Nigeria, as I speak, thousands of people die every year. They set churches on fire. They kill hundreds of people at a time. Not one or two, not like a police slang and we get upset. We're talking about people surround a church, set it on fire and kill all the people on the inside. This is happening in Nigeria right now. And by the way, that pedophile president that you guys voted for says that Nigeria doesn't have a problem, that Nigeria doesn't have a religious tolerance problem.
Wow.
If you will kill fellow Nigerians over their religion, what would keep Islamic fundamentalists, terrorists, and our soldiers from killing Christians in Niger?
And shout out to Mississippi Delta guy for another contribution. Appreciate it. Says France is one of the main reasons why West Africa cannot develop.
Thank you, Jesus.
Africa's never going to develop as long as France is there. But we need to remember who backs up France. Who gave France the military weapons to kill people in Vietnam from 1945 to 1954? How we got into Vietnam. Who gave the French weapons to fight the Algerians from 1954 to 1962? Who? Who gave the British the weapons to fight Mau Mau? Who gave the British the weapons to fight the black people in Malaysia, the Malays? Who? The real backup is the United States. It is the main pillar of global white supremacy. Who's helping the Nazis in the Ukraine? Who's bringing Ukrainian Nazis into black areas in New York and Chicago? These people are armed to the teeth. Many of these people are going to become policemen that are going to murder black people all over the country. And some of you, your asses voted for this. You voted for it. Blame yourselves when they start shooting people. These Ukrainian Nazis will kill anybody. They've killed thousands and thousands of people that are Russians, that are white, when it was wrong. What will be wrong with these Ukrainians who are Nazis, who've been sending money to white supremacist hate groups to attack black people here for 30 years? What about when they get in the police force and start killing us here, and it's okay? And they have the police unions, the Fraternal Order of Patrolmen and so forth to justify them murdering us. And they have black Democratic mayors and city council people, and a lot of them fat, loudmouth, traitor black women who never are on code. They're going to kill us. These wars all over the earth. I have a wonderful book here, and I feel like showing it to y'all. It's a very expensive book. I want to thank all my supporters. I hope people send me a donation. Absolutely.
His donation, his stuff is right there on the bottom of the screen. It's scrolling. So
I'm going to show them this book. And the book basically points out that Adolf Hitler, the so-called most evil man of all times, was a fanatical fan of American white culture. That Adolf Hitler patterned his hatred of other people off of what he saw being done to the Indians, and also what the British did to the Indians in India and the Australian Aborigines. That Nazi Germany is a German New Jack Swing of what they saw America had. We need to stop pretending that Nazi Germany just sprung up out of a vacuum. Nazi Germany is an American clone. I repeat, Nazi Germany is an American clone.
Yeah, they work together.
No America, no Nazi Germany.
That's our science, isn't it? That's pretty much our science.
No America, no apartheid in South Africa. Right?
Yeah, because remember the scientists were transferred from Nazi Germany to America during and after the World War II?
No. Margaret Sanger, the German scientist, came to America to learn about killing people. The German laws for sterilization and eugenics are American laws. Killing us is the basis of a lot of countries doing things, copying what America does. This stuff ain't local. Which country is being silent about what happens in France? Who put Macron in power? Obama put Macron in power. Obama did that, y'all.
Still have legs. So I was,
Speaking of legs, what about Obama's chef?
Oh, you went there.
Yeah, I did. Come on,
he
y'all.
knew something. He found out something.
You know goodness well. All these people start ending up dead. Let me just help y'all. There have been 5 dead black men linked to Barack Obama. 3 in Chicago. The best known is Donald Young, the gay minister of music at Trinity Church. There's another gay, and then there were 2 other people from Trinity that get killed. So that's 3, all gay, mysteriously. All the cases, they're all cold closed cases. They've been cold and closed since 2008. They have no idea who shot this man in his head. Or the other two shot in the head, execution style. There was another black man here in D.C., a drag queen, told my god brother that he used to mess around with Obama. Let me tell you what he's shot in the head too, dead. That's 2 black men. I'm sorry, 4. And now this one, paddleboarding. At 8 feet of water, he's about 6 feet tall. Damn. How do you drown in that little water? You couldn't get to the shore? Think about it. If you've ever been to the beach, if your feet can touch the bottom, you can walk a couple of feet. Your ass will be high enough for you to stand up. Am I lying?
Not at all.
So, what happened? It's rumored that he had a book called Tasty Morsels. Book he's going to release. I don't know if it's true or not. I wonder what that book's about. I'm wondering if you're going to say something. I'm wondering if Michelle flipped him or something.
Oh.
Can you imagine if Michelle flicked him?
And this all goes to show you that, see, people keep thinking that when you're dealing with, like, especially White House politics, everybody's clean. There's no killing and underhanded, strangulations. And, they just act like people just go by the book, just do like, little sassy type bad stuff. But understand how dangerous it can be. But they can wipe things clean. But we know what's going on.
Look, that show Scandals, that shit's true. We live here in D.C. My grandfather was a cab driver. You know what? These cab drivers knew everybody's business. My mother always tells my grandfather, I can't talk about nothing. I don't want them to kill my whole family. My grandfather knew Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt was a lesbian.
I heard about that.
No, it's a fact. And she had women that lived in her place called Valhalla. There's a big stud pad that she had in New York. Don't you think if my grandfather's driving her around that he's not hearing this shit? And she's like, damn, okay, ma'am, the fare is $5. Okay, you didn't hear about Roosevelt? That Mrs. Roosevelt, she was bisexual. Did you know that Mrs. Roosevelt was such a freak that she was screwing soldiers that she was visiting that were sick?
Damn.
And you know what happened? Roosevelt had all the soldiers that screwed his wife or knew about his wife screwing someone, had all of their asses sent to the worst places in the Pacific theater of war until they were all murdered or killed in combat.
Wow. She must have made a bigger impact than Nancy Reagan.
Well, you know what? I ain't mad at Nancy Reagan. But let's just be honest with ourselves. These people, and I keep telling you, DC is nasty here. It's a freaky, nasty place. Always has been, always will be. And I'm just saying to you that this thing with Obama, I don't buy the official story. I refuse to buy the official story. How about that? I don't care who doesn't like what I'm saying. Something happened, like that song they sing, something happened and now I know. He touched me. Yeah, Obama touched somebody. And some things have happened. Something has happened. Somebody has done something nasty. And when they want to cover it up, they have no problem destroying people, getting rid of people, deleting people, putting folks out of commission permanently. So that guy paddleboarding, that's the second White House chef to die. And the Clinton chef died, and now the Obama chef died. Tragically. Y'all think that shit just happened like that, don't you? Don't you?
The stuff that I
No.
keep hearing, people keep thinking that everything is by the book. Like, what
Well,
book are you reading?
the Kama Sutra's a book, nigga. Damn. I mean, a lot of shit's by the book. Exactly. They got a judgment book. I mean, what are you talking about? They have books that tell people how to do shit. Spell books. Mein Kampf is a book.
It sure is. So is the what's that? The Devil's Bible, whatever they got. Church.
Well, the Satanic Bible. Or they
Yeah,
even have
exactly.
a faggot Bible. They have the Queen James Bible. I know the person that wrote that.
And his book of demonology. He was the one that wrote that before he wrote the King James version. I just got that out
No,
of
he didn't. No.
curiosity.
The Queen James was written by a different person. A
Okay.
black person. A black person wrote the Queen James Bible. The black person that wrote the Queen James Bible is Reverend Dr. Peter Gomes. Okay, former dean of the Chapel, Harvard University. That's someone I knew.
Wow.
Okay, so no.
Now the
This
one that says 1611 on the bottom, that's the one he did.
no, his thing wasn't 1611. As I said, his thing is called the Queen James Bible.
Oh, so that's literally the Queen
Yeah,
James.
what do you think? I was joking?
Yeah, I thought you was joking.
I'm not. No, I'm fucking serious.
Okay.
Look it up.
Wow. Okay. Man.
Why would I make that up? I don't need to make it up. The truth is far more devastating than a lie, my friend.
It cuts. Really cuts. But before we go too further out, because it's past an hour, I wanted to get into our favorite candidate.
Oh, you mean Satan?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Satan.
This computer. Can you hear me now?
I think I can hear you.
Okay.
I do. Satan.
Cool. Yep. So I'm gonna put this this Joker dude on the screen here.
Satan was what you're talking about. And we're talking about that sorry Uncle Tom nigga down in Florida, Dr. Allen.
Yeah, I got his article. Where I put his article? Oh,
now, did you share that stuff on Alec that I sent you? I texted it to you. Make certain that gets into the room.
Yeah, I put it in the and
chat. I sent you some stuff on Niger too.
Okay, so let me refresh. Oh, here it is, right here. But yeah, man, this is, and I heard Alabama is following suit on what DeSantis is doing in
Florida. That's because they got that racist bitch Ivy. She should be called Governor Poison Ivy. So let me see. Now I'm on screen right now. I have my.
Okay. I gotta wait for this damn computer.
Well, I mean that's why. Hey, y'all need to donate to him. Donate to me too. He needs a new computer. It costs to do this stuff, and they mess with your computer. They give you viruses. They mess with your phones. They do all kinds of stuff. Look, we're gonna keep doing it, aren't we? We don't care, but just people. It takes a little bit for you to do the stuff that you want to do. Oh my! And I can't wait to show you a couple of things. In fact, I got my book so I can share this with you.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my God, I feel so white. I just want to betray everybody, sell people out for nothing, just because I hate being black so much. I'm just going to betray everybody. Just hand white people to victory because I'm mad at us. And since we don't have no civilization, and since we don't have any dignity, and since we're tired of white people carrying that heavy ball of civilization alone, we're going to lighten the load.
We got to, and hopefully we have some time, and we got to really get either a panel together or somebody to really remind people what a coon is and what pro-black is, because they're really changing the term in these
Well,
social media.
The pro-black, I get it. The pro-black for certain people are folks who are dishonest. It's the same thing I say, scam Africanist.
Oh, that's another one right there.
Because they're not really Pan-Africanists. I have no problems. I love my friends in Africa. I love traveling to Africa. I love good Africans because they're just good people. But I also know that Africans who are no good, who are ass-sucking white power freaks, and they don't like their own people, they don't like us, those people are not allies. And these people, oh man, this is such a great Africa. Everything in Africa is great. I guess AIDS in Africa is great, right? Cholera in Africa is great, right? Malaria in Africa is great because it's in Africa. I don't like that kind of emotional romanticism where basically there's nothing in America. So you haven't had a good plate of greens in America. Your grandmother was no good because she was from America. Your family's no good because it's in America. And the only family that was any good was the family that existed in Africa 500 years ago. Everything since then is just going to be a complete waste and no value. That basically means you're not shit. And your mama's not shit. And your mother's not shit. And all the mothers that bore your ass aren't shit. That's some nihilistic, this black self-hatred of a different kind. And so the pro-black and the scam Africanists are phony niggas that hate themselves. They're on the other spectrum of black self-hatred. You can get a coon who will just say white is better. And they'll give you all the reasons. Whites have civilization, blacks will do this. And they'll give you a white line that is unrealistic, but they believe that. The pro-black or the scam Africanists would never say white's better, but they will say all of us who live in America black, we've never done anything, we're fucked up, our religion's bad, our music is bad, as if that bullshit Fela Kuti is superior to James Brown.
Wow.
Get the fuck out of here. You liars. Like this bullshit African stuff. And that compares to Whitney Houston or Luther Vandross. Are you kidding? I mean, have you heard? I'm not knocking African music. I'm not. I'm just saying that's their music. But you mean we haven't done anything? Listen to these fools talk. And the same people, they attack you or they'll say pretendians. You haven't heard me say I didn't have African heritage. I think you know that. I always say to people, I meet people. I'm in touch with people. I was on the phone the other day. I'm trying to figure out how to put together the means to go to one of the countries where I have a lot of genetic family, Guinea-Bissau. I've been trying to do this for 2 or 3 years. I am not ashamed. I look forward. And there's some beautiful ass people. And yes, I'm going on a bush bitch safari because they have women that are blacker than the pan, blacker than the skillet, and they're gorgeous and they like to cook and they're great moms. I like Africa, but they got a dictatorship. They launder all the dope money to get so I can just start talking about crazy shit. They have coups all the time. People fight each other. The ethnic group I come from are the thugs that rob and cheat everybody. I'm just saying to you, surprise, surprise.
That's that caveat, huh?
Okay, I'm only saying that short of going to the kingdom of heaven through God, through Christ, for me as a Christian, life on this planet's going to have its challenges no matter where you are. And are black people behind the 8 ball and this epoch of history? Yes. And we actually help keep ourselves behind the 8 ball and how we relate to one another. And this idea of black, it's almost unique to people in the outside of Africa. Africans don't look at the skin color as much as they look at as lineage. You're going to meet people from Africa that have a white parent, like Sade. Sade is seen as the full African, whatever tribe she's half white, right? She's still seen as, and so white people go to Africa and they blend right in. Those Africans take them. It doesn't matter if you're light skinned. What matters is your lineage, right? So it's not a color thing for them. We're the ones on color because white folks are on color. And we take it to a whole nother level because, Negroes will be in the skin tones. Well, you're kind of reddish, so I don't know you. You from Louisiana? right? It's really weird. Well, Ronnie motherfucker, right?
Mhm.
We so these titles are all really pro-black and as I term scam Africans. It is reacting to the dishonest, psychotic lies of people. And no one's saying black isn't beautiful. No one's saying that you want to be anybody or anything other than black. But don't pretend. Don't pretend a 400-pound woman is beautiful and sexy, because you'll never see a 400-pound woman want a 400-pound man. Never. So a woman who is basically a cardiovascular, super fun site, and that's a queen. No, that's queen size. That's not a queen.
Mhm.
Okay, there ain't no throne big enough. All right. And they wouldn't let you climb up Mount Everest because they don't want the shit to fall down. It's real simple.
Right.
The pro-blacks lie about stuff. And it's really an inferiority complex. Everything black is perfect. I don't need everything perfect for black people to be okay. When you need everything to be perfect in Africa and perfect in blackness, it's in reality because you feel inferior. Do you know who else needs everything to be perfect? White supremacists. White people never held slaves. White people, George Washington never told. The scam Africanists and the pro-blacks are a black version of white supremacists. They're not a genuine philosophical break. Not really. They're reactive, not responsive.
Mhm.
I don't need black people to be perfect for every black life to matter, for our culture or our contributions to matter. You can have black criminals, you can have black kings. We're human. What's wrong with us, as well as what's right with us, is just proof that we're human beings. I don't need perfection to feel good about who we are as a collective. The people who are demanding perfection are really saying that black people are pathological and fucked up. And therefore, if we don't deal with anything wrong about us, then I can feel good. And so you'll meet all these Negroes and everything's positive. Oh yeah, mom, I just shot some kids at school. Well, that's nice. Were the bullets made in Africa? Did you make the gun yourself? Right. That's how stupid these people. And white people do that too. It's a function of being in America versus having a mind that wants to be free and a soul that wants to be free from injustice and racism. In reality, this is a reaction to basically say, it's like this chessboard bullshit. Whatever they do, I can do. Instead of me doing what's best for me, damn what they do or don't do. That's what you can see in that. Like I said, if people want to live in Africa, they should live in Africa. There are people who are making out in Africa, but be honest, if I were to show you my messenger, I got a message from my best friend in South Africa. She told me she's freezing. You know why? In South Africa, they've been cutting the power off for 7 years, stealing from the people. The ANC, they don't have electrical power and shit for days or hours at a time. And the most advanced economy in Africa, lying Pan-Africanists, fuck-ups. The ANC is full of coons who are corrupt, who are incompetent. They're so fucked up until the white people look like they're going to make a comeback in South Africa. Go figure. How do you fuck up that badly? And all these Negroes running after Mandela. I mean, come on. That's what this stuff points to, is not being honest. So South Africa, that used to supply electrical power to all the countries in Southern Africa and South Central Africa, now they can't provide energy to their own communities. How do you go from doing like millions of square miles that you can't handle your own country? How? Other than the incompetence, the stupidity, the corruption. That's in Africa, like it is anywhere else. So my friend writes me saying that they're cold. And I started talking to her about what you can do is get yourself some candles, put in a basin of water, or put it in something that's steel or iron, and that will provide you temporary heat. This is what I was talking to. I mean, that's a real conversation tonight. with someone in Africa.
Man.
So when these people, these Pan-Africanist motherfucker liars talk, I got friends all over Africa. My friend in Mozambique tell me some stuff now that Mozambique is a gay affirming country. In order to get American money, they're now pushing LGBTQ in the schools in Africa. Sure they are. How you doing? This is happening now. There are 2 or 3 billion Africans. All kinds of stuff happens there. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I didn't say Africa's unique or it's got worse. I almost said that Africa had. But these pro-blacks and these Pan-Africanists, well, brother, why do you bring up? And we're trying to tell our people something good. And you can. I didn't say Africa wasn't beautiful. Didn't you hear me say Africa's beautiful? It's wonderful. It's nice to meet you. But you also, I'll tell you something. When I flew into Ghana, those niggas stole my sunshades. They stole my my lotion out of my baggage in the airport in Ghana. They go through and steal your shit out your bags. They go through your shit before you get there. Yes, they will take your stuff from you. And you can't lock it. So if you get a job in the airport, you can steal people's stuff. That's why people want to work in the airport. Because people in Africa, a lot of them are desperate. There are people. If you're living on $1 a day and you meet someone that's living on $50 or $100 a day, you're going to try to take shit. There are a lot of Africans that are hungry. Africa's got all kinds of land. People are not growing shit on it. They don't want to be farmers. They want to live in the city. They want to live like we do. Do you realize there's a drug problem now in Africa? People snorting cocaine. Africa's now the new place to send dope. Now that the economy and certain people making more money, so people snorting cocaine, people using dope in South Africa and other places. They have gangs.
Yeah, I heard about
that. Just like all over Africa, they got drug gangs and they're selling this stuff and they smoke weed and they do all. You got prostitution, human trafficking. You've got whatever. It's in Africa too. Great poverty, great wealth. There are opportunities, but at the same time, you could have a change in government, have a nice factory, nice home, and someone just come and take your shit because the government changed. Fuck you. You're out now. Africa's super unstable. You have to be very careful. You got to bribe people. Talk to people. A lot of girls don't get through school because you have to pay school fees. If you can't pay school fees, you have to fuck your teacher. You get pregnant fucking your teacher, you become a hoe. Real talk, that really happens in Africa. Or let's get better. A lot of girls will go to Africa. Why? Just travel in Africa. You go to schools in Africa. A lot of schools in Africa don't have bathrooms. They don't. I was in Nigeria, in Uyo, the capital of, I think, Abia State, if I'm correct. They did not have a bathroom. I remember being at the government building, and I had to piss. I kept looking for a bathroom, running up the steps, and I said to the person, "Where's the bathroom?" And it says, "Out that door." I went out the door, and it was all this tall elephant grass. People go out in the grass and shit and piss and come back, and there's no toilet paper. There's nothing to wash your hands with. That's Africa, people. No bathroom. No sink.
How come
Akon's a fucking liar. He's a fucking liar. And a lot of these people are fucking liars. When I say to you, I watched this gorgeous lady lift up her dress, go into the grass, and she could piss standing up without getting shit on her legs, and walked her ass back in the building. Yes, they do. And all around Africa, these people have signs, don't piss on the wall because there's no bathroom. People piss on each other's walls. It washes the paint and shit off. Well, you smell piss certain places because people piss everywhere. And sometimes they shit too. That is not unique to Africa. I'm only saying that they don't have, in every place, they don't have sanitation like what you have in America. And sometimes people have to drink the water with the shit and piss in it, which kills millions of people in Africa. And have I had some water with some shit in it? Yes, I have. My first trip to Africa, 40 years ago, 2 weeks back, I had diarrhea from some water with shit in it that I drank in Dakar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some African shit, and it didn't taste or feel better in my guts than American shit in my guts for the Pan-Africanist or the pro-black. African shit and American shit will give you diarrhea, aka dysentery. Let's stop lying. Africa's nice. I had a great time in Africa, but I didn't have a great time with the diarrhea. And I made the mistake of drinking the water. Don't fuck with the water if you don't know what's in it.
So this is the whole continent, or is it like south?
Yeah, it's a whole
east, west,
fucking
Africa?
continent. Look, there are some real... In Africa, if you've got money, you can live like a king. But who has money in Africa? Most people in Africa are struggling. It's not that they don't have stuff, but the way that the global economy is set up, the Africans have real shit. They got real gold, real silver, real everything, but they don't have a strong currency. They don't command respect. How you're trading with you is based on how you can command hard currency, a dollar, a euro, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, you don't have much. And these are fiat currencies that aren't really worth anything, but that's where the military comes in to blow up and kill people and take shit. African people are minerally rich, but the way it's allocated doesn't benefit them. So these African people may have gold on their neck because they got gold all over the place and be broke. And you can't sell your gold and do that shit. You can smuggle that shit out. Some Lebanese and other people gonna make the fucking money. Not people there, because niggas there jealous and start killing and robbing and legislating. So Africans are basically like a bunch of, I don't know if you've ever gotten bees and put them in a glass and shook their asses up. That's how a lot of African cultures are. I mean, there's a lot of discord and competition and conflict. Not everywhere, but certain places are far worse than others. Sudan is a place, southern Sudan, where those folks are killing and raping and butchering each other, and it's not in the news. And that's a country that Obama helped set up. And folks go around and killing each other. They have shit now, and they got a dude that set maybe 10, 20,000 women on fire, is a vice president of South Sudan. I'm just telling you the truth. Go look the shit up. That's who you put in as president, a man that murders women and girls? Yes, it is like that. Yes, it is. But you know what the Pan-Africanists say? Well, at least it's a black man in charge. I mean, we look ridiculous. Africans laugh at us. I wouldn't respect anybody either that's that damn stupid. They would rather have a white person that wasn't a butcher than a black person that was a butcher. So, come on. We need to be real about this Africa thing. And look, I've done work for people in Sudan, have friends in the Sudanese. I'm not talking about, you don't hear me say I hate anybody. You don't hear me say I want folks to suffer. I know what it's like when I was feeding 5 or 6 people from Sudan out my pocket. Okay, struggling because they didn't have anybody. I didn't say, oh, you from Africa, fuck you. I try to figure out what I can do to help a brother or sister. Even though they didn't necessarily see me as a brother, they'd always tell me, you look like an Arab, and people that look like you hate me where I come from. And as the guy says, it took a whole lot for me to come to like you because of what you look like. He honestly told me that. Where I come from, people that look like you are my enemies. By the way, he liked my dad, who's much darker. Just loved my dad because he's dark. Didn't like me because of, but just didn't trust, just couldn't embrace that someone that looks like me isn't a bad person. We find that as Black folks who haven't traveled impossible to conceive that they've got colorism and tribalism and ethnic national hatreds on steroids all over Africa before white folks got out of caves.
Yeah, this is
now let's get to Florida, if you would.
Okay, so apparently we got this article here. I guess we can go deep into what we were talking about last time with the Florida situation. Hopefully my computer won't start tripping again.
Well, we can go quickly because these people could do. Look, y'all got phones. Look the shit up. We're just gonna go through it quickly, give some analysis, and move the hell on. It's it doesn't have to be a punishment lesson. Learning and information, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to drown people in information to be able to inform people, right?
Right. So
We don't have to we don't have to do that. I'm gonna get one other book and I'll be right back. So you get on that. I'll be right back. It'll take me all of a minute.
Okay.
1 second, I'll be right back.
So while he's going, hit the like button, share, subscribe.
Donate.
And don't forget Dr. Short's information is scrolling on the bottom. So when he said the email is for the Zelle and the PayPal, the email that's scrolling on the bottom. So right here in this article, it says Republican or Representative John James of Michigan criticized Governor DeSantis on Friday for his response to Republican lawmakers who called him out on his state's new Black History Education Standards Friday. So he said, at Ron DeSantis, number one, slavery was not CTE. I believe that means career technical education. James posted on X. The platform formerly known as Twitter. Nothing about that 400 years of evil was a net benefit to my ancestors. Number two, there are only 5 Black Republicans in Congress, and you're attacking 2 of them. Dr. Short, are you back? Anyhow, so and it says both Republican, I keep thinking Republicans, both Representative Byron Donalds of Florida and Tim Scott of South Carolina have criticized the new standards, which indicate that American slavery helped enslaved people develop skills. Let me read this. American slavery helped enslaved people develop skills that benefit them in the past few days. Scott rebuked the language during a campaign stop in Iowa on Thursday, claiming there is no silver lining in slavery. Slavery was about separating families, about mutilating humans, and even raping their wives. He said it was just devastating. Keep in mind, people, Tim Scott and DeSantis, I believe they're going to be sharing the stage on I believe they're gonna be sharing the stage pretty I don't know if it's gonna be this, gotta be next week. Make sure you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, yeah, so it looks like they're gonna be sharing the stage. So I wonder if Tim Scott is gonna bring that up to DeSantis, if that's going to be even a topic. But go ahead, Dr. Short. You wanted to share something?
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of things to run by you. First and foremost, we know that Tim Scott is running to be president, and he's saying America's not a racist country. More power to him. More power to him. I really wish that he would have not done some stupid shit like that. But, it happens. And what I'm going to do as part of my presentation, I always do these things because there's plenty of information to rebut whatever anybody says. There's always a way to show that these people are lying and that they're liars, and that there's plenty of cause for us to have reparations. There are plenty of things that people need to be aware of. And so what I'm going to do is share. I'm still looking forward to having my Angry Black Men's Book Club. I've been trying to wait out because, you know, we get so much censorship. I'm not afraid of doing it. You just hate to lose content. You hate to have people erase and destroy your channel. And the thing about our folks is once they destroy your channel, you have to build all over again, because sometimes people get comfortable and they're used to looking for you at one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some books that you can find. And if that touch on some of the topics that we hit tonight. And then we're going to talk about this. We're going to deal with this. So let me see. I'm going to run through some things that you can have in your own libraries, or that you can borrow from your library, that will help you. If you want to understand something about Africa, something that Pan-Africanists often don't do, which is to give you history, to give you historic information and sources, and not just fairy tales, right? Mm-hmm. A very good book that talks about how white folk have gone into Africa and screwed and took stuff from Africans. It's this book here by Bruce Vandervoort, Wars of Imperial Conquest in Africa. It's a very short book. It talks about what all the white countries did in Africa. In brief, it's a short book. It's not too long. The title again, Wars of Imperial Conquest in Africa. If you'd like, brother, I can take pictures of these books and send that so you can put it in your chat room.
Okay.
And this gives the foundational basis of white folks going into Africa and taking everything, and more or less all of Africa is an economic colony to either France, the United States, or Britain, or the combination thereof, although the Chinese and others have penetrated in a major way. But this is the white folks, how they got into Africa and the wars. And one of the things you're going to find out is it didn't take that many white folks with a handful of African sellouts to take what they wanted. Africans didn't really fight white folk all and out. Shaka Zulu and a couple of other people, they're the anomalies. A lot of these folks did not fight that hard. No, they didn't. All this toughness, no, bullshit. Some Africans fought. A lot of Africans acquiesced. They were so corrupted till white folks just marched in and took shit. I'm going to separate that. I just want y'all to know that. And so when you talk about Africa, when you say something, I want you to know. And now you want to look about a good book I found that deals with racism and France. Since we're talking about those no good French, and France is Africa's F word and French is Africa's F word. There's this book here. It's expensive. And this is why I always ask people for donations at DrRandyShort. It's just to keep my library. This is by Crystal Marie Fleming, Resurrecting Slavery, Racial Legacies and White Supremacy in France. If you want some contemporary information on how they treat, here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. And I've got about 15 books coming. Resurrecting Slavery. And brother, what I'm going to do is put all of these books, I'm going to take pictures of these and put it on my Facebook page. I'm Randy Short on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. You can find me in LinkedIn. I've got several Instagrams. I've got Twitter. If you look for me, you will find me. I'm not hiding from people. And I'm not trying to be famous either. Now let's do some more. This is a very important subject for we Black folks, because we get everything wrong. Yeah, we do. We have everything wrong. And so we're going to deal with this. I want to touch this while I am with you. Mm-hmm. This is a very good book. I just got it. It's called The Gospel of J. Edgar Hoover, How the FBI Allied and Abetted the Rise of Militant White Christian Nationalism. This shit, and Alec, I'm talking to you about, it pertains to this. And there's another companion book that goes with it. Excuse me. It's called Christian Slavery, Conversion and Race in the Protestant Atlantic World by Catherine Gerbner. Shows how the Christianity that Negroes in America have and throughout much of the Western world is based on the idea that Black people's enslavement and genocide is compatible with Christianity. It's not the real thing. If you ever wonder why Black churches are so fucking sorry about police killings and hospitals and schools, why they don't do anything, the same way that Africans have fake governments that serve the interest of white countries, we have a fake Christianity that serves the interest of white Americans. It doesn't have anything to do with the spiritual uplift of our people. If it did, shit would be hella different. Folk would be fighting pedophilia, LGBTQ, they'd be fighting DeSantis, they'd be doing a whole lot of fighting on moral, ethical grounds. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
I always share this. If you ever want it, while you got a chance, someone finally did this. This is the Slave Bible or the Negro Bible. It is a Bible created to make certain that Black people were inferior and subordinate and happy slaves to white people. They actually had these books all over the country, not the real Bible. It took all the parts of the Bible out that would show you that the people in the scriptures were Black. So this is a white nationalist Bible made for Black people. You can get it on Amazon. It's called the Negro Bible or the Slave Bible. And it's been edited. DeSantis and all these other people, the basis of white nationalism is based in a fake, hijacked, racist combination of pseudoscience and white supremacy and a fake Christianity. I hate thy neighbor Christianity that has nothing to do with biblical Christianity. They hacked the Bible. If you've read the Bible and it says in Revelations, if you add to the Bible, you're cursed if you take from. So these fuckers took away from the Bible. The white church in America is cursed. Proof of it is where we are right now, what they've allowed to happen. Reparations is biblical. Getting some motherfucking money when you've been done wrong is in the Bible. That's what you do. The man that followed Jesus in Luke 19, Zacchaeus, when he got with the Son of God, the first thing he did was he paid people 400 times what he took. He didn't say, well, here, 1 for 1. Okay, let me do some more. I'm moving through this kind of fast. I hope you guys like this. In fact, let me just do a few more of these. Just so you understand, DeSantis and these other people are connected to white, esoteric, nationalist, satanic cults. This thing is called Black Sun, Aryan cults, esoteric Nazism, and the politics of identity. What we're struggling against with people like DeSantis is basically white Satanism masquerading as Christianity. Mm-hmm. White Satanism masquerading as Christianity. Adolf Hitler was practicing white Satanism, and he had people thinking that he was Christian. Had nothing to do with that. Had no desire. In fact, true Nazism wanted to destroy Christianity. They saw it as an impediment. We have the same over here. The Americans and the Americans have this Satanism. The Ukrainians have it. The Germans have it. The English have it. The French have it. They're Luciferian. It's a very good book you can find. It's called Hitler's Cross. How the cross was used.
A holy war too.
It is a holy war. It's called Rahowa. Rahowa, religious holy war. It's a word that the white nationalists use. They're going to have a religious holy war to exterminate Black people. And so we're seen as the devil's people. And they are God's people. Whiteness is God. Blackness is Satan. Hitler's cross, how the cross was used to promote the Nazi agenda. Erwin W. Lutzer. I'm going to keep moving. Look at this. Look at this. The Unholy Alliance.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
The history of a Nazi involvement with the occult. Peter Lavender. What we're dealing with, guys, since it's a Sunday, is a spiritual conflict where people are on the side of dark forces. It isn't just a color thing. This is spiritual. This is kill people, destroy people, burn people. Do you understand? Holocaust, you just see it as people dying, but Holocaust is a human offering. That's burning something. You have a Holocaust when you make a sacrifice. They were burning people to their white devil gods. A lynching is a sacrifice to a devil god. Killing us is appeasing their God. And I always say to all the atheistic Negroes, there's no religion. All the dumb fuck atheists, phony black people that are going to spend eternity in hell after living as niggas in life. What a fucking waste to not have a God and to have people kill you for their God. You didn't even have something to pray to. That's a sorry ass group of people that don't have something that they believe in. That's a weak ass, lost ass, pathetic ass people who don't know that there's a God that's for them. That's a sad ass people. You're a sorry ass black man or woman if you don't pray to something to help you deal with this supernatural force arrayed against you, your kids, and those unborn. An atheistical nigga is a stupid, suicidal traitor nigga. A Negro that believes in nothing is nothing. These white folks believe in this satanic shit they're on. They serious about that. And they hate you. They hate your kids. They're going to keep hating. And they're proud of it. Okay, let me just do a little bit more. I'm moving through this very quickly. I'm almost done. I want y'all to learn some stuff. This is something that Negroes need to get into. This is a very good book. Richard Hofstadter, Anti-Intellectualism in American Life. Your guy, your no good, sorry ass, DeSantis and others. These people don't like thinking. This is an anti-thought effort. These people don't know anything and don't have to. They white. Another very good book. And we black folk need to get out of it. It's Idiot America, How Stupidity Became a Virtue in the Land of the Free. One of the reasons that we're in the situation we're in right now is that we're so stupid. We've bought into Americanism of thinking dumb is cool. As a teacher, come on, you're a teacher too, dealing with students who don't want to learn anything. They just want to sit and not do a goddamn thing and you not say shit to them. Right. And they think that that's cool. It ain't cool. You're a dumbass person. You're a dumbass person if you don't do it, if you're not learning. And you're sorry ass parents if you let your kids go to school and they not learning nothing. I want to do a couple more. I'm going to do the white books and then I'm going to start doing the black shit. I'm going to do a little bit more white shit. Y'all got to bear with me. I got to do whiteness, white first. Y'all should like me, right? Because I put white first. I love it. I love it. Look. Another good book. It's called The Age of American Unreason. And it talks about how stupid American people become, us included. That's the last book I'm going to do like that. Now I'm going to deal with this DeSantis' sorry ass. I want to put one more book. I'm sorry it doesn't have the nice dust cover on it, so I'm going to just show you the title. But this cracker here, Josiah Nott, was a white racist doctor, one of the architects of global white supremacy. And this is his book. And the book is Josiah Nott, of Mobile, Southerner physician and racial theorist, by Reginald Horseman. Reginald Horseman is a badass white gentleman. I happen to like the shit he's on. Josiah Nott was a person in the 1850s. They started coming up with the idea to measure the size of people's heads and shit, to show how stupid black people are supposed to be. He has another book that I'm going to show you right now, Reginald Horseman. And you can find this practically anywhere. Let me get this little cheap ass stick off here because this is a used one. I buy these. Sometimes you may buy a book 2 or 3 times because, but here's a book, Grace and Manifest Destiny by Reginald Horseman. And it talks about how they killed off the Indians and how white folks had planned to exterminate everybody that wasn't white. And how the Indians, no matter what they did, and other people tried to fit in, the whole goal is basically to take the whole continent, what's part of what we call the United States, and wipe out everybody. Make it seem as if people can become part of the society, like the Indians that started owning slaves and doing everything the white people told them to do. Even though they did everything that white people asked, the goal was really ultimately to take all this shit away and exterminate them. And only the ones that just completely sucked ass, you know, sort of like the Candace Owen types, they would take them, but hopefully they would fade out. That's the origins of Anglo-American racial Anglo-Saxonism. I'm bringing this up because, like DeSantis, when you're trying to destroy a people's history, you're trying to destroy the people. And part of this manifest destiny is the elimination of us, to get rid of us as a entire people. Josiah Nott, Charles Darwin, all this stuff is based on the elimination of inferior people. If you know the whole title of Charles Darwin's Origin of Species and the Struggle of Life of Favored Races, this shit's so long I don't remember it, but ultimately, we're not a favored race. And DeSantis and these other people are deep into this. DeSantis, I've been around them. Who in here's met DeSantis? I have. I've met DeSantis.
I have.
These people, yeah, I've met DeSantis. A lot of these people, these folks do not like us. They hate us. They really do. And they only abide Negroes that they can use to hurt the rest of us. These people on this education committee that DeSantis put together, I assure you, are not historians. And Professor Black Truth did a good address today, and he brought out the fact that the woman that's on there and this guy, Allen, Dr. Allen, they are not historians. Yours truly, me, I'm a damn historian, okay? These folks are political scientists and other things. They are not historians. They talk about theory and shit. A historian will start telling you bodies of literature, information of books. Historians are the real deal. And that's why, and they understand that history is something that has been purged from our education. Now, let me do some more. I'm almost done, brother, and we're almost on black people shit. Hang on. Keep your drawers on. I got a couple more I want to throw at you. America's Nazi Secret. If you really want to understand what's going on in the country, America's Nazi Secret by John Loftus talks about America's close relationship with the Nazis before and after the war and how all those Nazis came over here and they worked with America's richest families and corporations. Facts. Right now, we're the new Jews, people. We're the new Jews. And I need to say to you, Alec, when you were listening earlier, the American Legislative Exchange Council is heavily supported by bigoted Jewish people. Yeah, I said it. Again, America.
There was an adjective to it, so it can't cry too much.
Yeah. America's Nazi Secret, an insider's history of how the United States Department of Justice obstructed Congress by blocking congressional investigations into famous American families who funded Hitler, Stalin, and Arab terrorists, lying to Congress, the Government Accounting Office, and the CIA about the post-war immigration of Eastern European Nazi war criminals to the United States, and concealing from the 9/11 investigators the role of Arab Nazi war criminals in recruiting modern Middle Eastern terrorist groups. All this shit you see going on, and it's interconnected, and they put these terrorist folks who are selling cigarettes and drugs in our neighborhood. Hey, open your eyes. Now, I'm on to DeSantis and I'm going to stop. It's a very good book by one of my favorite writers, David Rediger. It's called Working Towards Whiteness. All these people weren't always white. They got white because they needed people to fight us. DeSantis is attacking us because DeSantis is a nominal white man. He's not a real fucking white man. He's a Sicilian. He's probably got more African ancestry than Beyonce. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't
How
doubt
about
it.
that? I'm just sit down and think. Now, and there's a very good book. This is the paperback. I have the hardback in storage. It's by Richard Gambino, Blood of My Blood, The Dilemma of Italian Americans. And this is something that DeSantis doesn't want you to know, that Italian Americans used to get lynched so badly the Italian government had to threaten the government of the United States because they were killing Italians all over America because they saw them as less than black people. Italian people became white in the 1950s. Italians were seen as less than black people all over the country, segregated, and the Italian government had to intercede. DeSantis's grandparents were seen as European niggers. This dude doesn't just hate us. He's worried if you really dredge into history, he won't be white anymore. He's fighting for his white identity that he doesn't even deserve. I'm going to do one more white book and then everything else is black. Almost done with white people. You got 5 people listening?
We got about 49.
Now, here's a book. And this is a book I'm going to take about 3 minutes on. It's called Defending the Master Race: Conservation, Eugenics, and the Legacy of Madison Grant. Madison Grant is the architect, one of the major architects of white supremacy. He was Adolf Hitler's greatest idol, an American by the name of Madison Grant, who wrote a book, The Vanishing of a Great Race. Madison Grant was basically telling white people in the 1920s, if y'all don't do something about black people, we white people, these Aryans, will be wiped out and we'll all be barbaric, ruled by non-white people. This book here, if you can get your hands on one, it's about $100 book. I thank you all for the donations at DrRandyShort. I thank you for the donations to DrRandyShort@gmail.com. I cannot afford the library that I have to share with you. If I told you just this book on Dr. Knott, that was, God, these things, sometimes these books, by the way, they price them in such a way that people like a lot of us can't even afford to know what's going on. So these rich devils know what's going on. But anyway, Madison Grant and another guy named Lothrop Stoddard, he has a book called The Rising Tide of Color. And it's talking about the threats that we pose to white people and that white folks had to stop us. This guy, Madison Grant, supported eugenics. And so this thing talks about conservation. They talk about global warming now. Global warming and all this stuff is really an excuse to kill black people. Our dumbasses don't know it. And global warming supports where you have to vaccinate and do all this other kind of stuff to people. Kill off people so the planet will be okay. So Madison Grant talked about conservation, and they talk about there being too many people, in particular too many of us. Margaret Sanger felt that there were too many of us. I should get my Margaret Sanger book. I have The Woman and the New Race. That book is 99 years old. No, it's 104.
You mean Hillary's role model?
Yeah. Her book, The Woman and the New Race, I should get it. Her book basically says that certain women shouldn't be allowed to reproduce. Certain women, it's black women, all black women basically should be sterilized. For all you stupid ass black women that are feminists, you are dumb fucks. Black men need to stop respecting stupid ass ideas from racists, even if our women repeat it. So I don't mind telling a black woman, you're stupid if you come to me talking about Margaret Sanger or Planned Parenthood. You're a dumbass. You're talking about being sterilized. I have a friend that was sterilized. She went to the doctor, sterilized her without her permission. This is Margaret Sanger. All these black women that can't have children are messed up, or they dogged them in the hospitals. They're killing mothers. This is Margaret Sanger. There's nothing more ridiculous to me than a stupid ass black woman parroting some shit. A white woman that hates her says, and she thinks she's being smart, sassing, smart talking to black men. We're talking about black life. And they think because they're talking about black death and they got a degree that they're on something intelligent. No, you're stupid. And patriarchy is good. And if sexism protects us from a genocide by abortion, then we should all be sexist. We need to survive. And if you don't want to have kids, you don't want to continue the black race, then shut the fuck up when you see people getting a passport to go somewhere else. Long live Kevin Samuels. And that's for real. Enough of this shit. Back to Madison Grant. This man was the one who was talked about measuring skulls. He applied what Josiah Knott, the book I showed you earlier, to measure people's skulls and nasal cavities and so forth and justify people being killed. As I said, Nazism is a German version of American hatred of black people. And there's one person whose book I don't have. I'm going to have to get it. His name is Houston Chamberlain. He's an English freak who was married to one of the children of Hitler's favorite composer, Wagner. That this man literally said that he had books dictated him by demons from hell. And these were all books about hatred of black people. Yes, black folk, I'm going to tell you, you need to know God. In fact, Jesus Christ is the one they hate the most. That's why I'm a Christian. All of these Nazis, all of them seem to hate Christianity. They hate this. They hate it. They hate Christianity so much, I gots to be one. And I got more Bibles than I have history books. You need something to counter these devils. And so it's called Defending the Master Race. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take pictures of these books, brother, and I'm going to send them to you so you can put them in your chat room. Books that people should look at. Some of them you're going to see. Some of them you're not going to be aware of. Now we're on some Black and Indian history. This is a very good book here by Gregory Wasilkoff, A Conquering Spirit. And it starts off talking about the Red Stick War. And this is why Andrew Jackson went into Alabama and later Florida. But in 1813, a group of black people with some Creek Indians wiped out a white military base called Fort Mims, Alabama, killed up to 500 odd people. One of the worst military defeats in American history. And that's why the United States Army went in and had the Red Stick War with the different Indians in Alabama to take Alabama from the Creeks and other Indians. And as well, that war led up to them going into the Creeks, moving into Florida, and of course, participating in the Seminole War. But that book is called The Conquering Spirit, and it talks about the very violent war. Andrew Jackson was a racist and a white supremacist liar, and people like DeSantis and these other people want to change history. In particular, they don't want you to hear about Fort Mims because black people and Indians won. A lot of stuff in the history that they're hiding from you is when white folk lost. American exceptionalism and all this other kind of shit is always tell you how white people win, and you may as well just accept white domination and being messed over because there's just nothing that can be done. And you're always going to be down. You're always going to be outnumbered. You're always going to kick your ass, take your money, and screw your women.
Yeah, so I was in the movies.
Okay, now this is another book. It's super expensive. Oh my God, it's very small. It cost me like about $50. Damn, but I had to get it. It's a very good book. And there's another book that he has. I just wasn't paying $120 for it. But it's called A Post-Exceptionalist Perspective on Early American History. And in a nutshell, what Carol Cake was saying is that American history is based on genocide of Indians and oppression of black people. This is the kind of stuff that DeSantis and other people don't want. In particular, they're worried about this history because if you tell some of the white people the truth, if some of the people know the facts of history, people have a harder time saying no to reparations. So they're saying they can't know. They know that there are some people who aren't bad that say, hey, look, Now I didn't realize we did all this to them. We should do something. They don't want people to know anything. So just take my word for it. If you ever grew up with bigoted people and they told their kids to hate black people, I'm your father. You hate black people because I told you to. I don't care how nice your black friend. I don't care how much you guys like each other. You got to stop playing with him. I said it. Don't think. It's not based on whether he's good or not. It's based on whether I'm going to beat your ass with the strap in my hand if I see you with another nigger. This is what DeSantis and them are doing. They're gaslighting whole generations of people that nobody can know what's going on. This is white supremacist gaslighting. What is DeSantis trying to protect people from? Very good book. Ida B. Wells, Mob Rule in New Orleans. And just talk about people killing. In fact, in 1866 in New Orleans, some black people went to vote in downtown New Orleans. White folks got mad and murdered 60 black people in cold blood, wounded maybe another 100, 200 people for voting. In 1867 and to like 1869, thousands of black people were murdered in Louisiana by the White League, by the Order of the White Camellia, by various groups. Blacks were murdered all over the South following the Civil War, starved to death, abused, lynched, homes burnt, drowned, so forth. I could literally read just a little bit out of this book here of what I was looking at. And again, I want to just give you one more. The Red Record, the famous book by Ida B. Wells that talks about just lynching. These people don't want people to know how bad white folks treated black people. They don't want people to have an idea of the kind of cruelty that black people were subject to. It was so violent. If I read a little bit, I was reading this book last night in this chapter, Contradiction of Power. And it just talks about them going through and just killing black people by the hundreds, not one or two, hundreds, just going through and killing people, just killing them, going around murdering people. And there's very little you could do. I mean, and the black folks didn't have guns. The white folks just show up and kill people, hunt black people down and murder them. And this happened all over the country. Let me just read some of this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first year in which black folks could vote. This is called The Crucible of Reconstruction: War, Radicalism and Race in Louisiana, 1862 to 1877. Just want to read you what DeSantis doesn't want the kids to hear, what we don't know. Let me find this.
Okay, hit the like button, share, and subscribe, people.
Okay. Let me start here.
Guys. So,
a response of the white South to the onset of radical reconstruction. Radical reconstruction is their word for when black people were able to get something. And let me do one other thing. Let me grab my reading glasses so I make certain I don't miss nothing. Give me one more second, because this is going to upset you. Y'all need to know your history.
Okay, so you're getting a treat, and you guys see his Cash App on the bottom and his email address on the bottom. The email is connected to his Zelle and PayPal. So you got it right there. You got a Sunday treat. I rarely don't do the whole Sunday night thing, but I didn't want to pass this Sunday up. So you're getting a Sunday treat. And by the way, you know, he already had black men being brutally honest. I don't know if he's still on, but please support him, because I kind of got on the tail end of his time slot. I appreciate everybody here being very supportive and, you know, coming on your own recognizance. I appreciate that. And for those that are wondering who they see on the screen, this is John Conyers. So this is one of the main guys that was really beating the drum for reparations before he passed away. I forgot what year he passed away. I believe John Conyers was a congressman out of New York. I just don't remember what district. Right. But yeah, so don't forget the information for Dr. Randy Short is in the description box, along with I think it's called the HR 4321. He's called the Genocide Bill. Read on that. He has plenty of information. Reach out to him. He's out there in the DC area. So we're waiting for him to get back here. Yeah, we went past 2 hours, y'all. So sorry about that if y'all felt that it was going to be a little short thing. And if you have any, questions before we sign off, just put it in the chat so we can read it and try to entertain your questions. Appreciate Mississippi Delta guy for his contributions as always. For a little guy like me in this space, means a lot. Right here. And don't forget, I should be doing my Tuesday, so we're gonna have a little fun on Tuesday. And we might, I'm not sure if you guys appreciated when we went over the resumes or the resume. And, if your job calls for it, then, send us the cover letter, because that was my whole thing. So if your job is requiring it, send email it to me at NUSTAL TV@gmail.com. And but if you send me your resume and your cover letter, do not put your name and address and phone number, and I guess to all intents and purposes, email as well. Don't put that on your resume and your cover letter, because we got some crazy people out there. And
Okay. Oh my God, my brother. I went and I got it. I had to get my favorite reading glasses, not the discount one. Just so you know, I'm not bullshitting. This is The Woman and the New Race by Margaret Sanger. I'm going to read this. I just want you to know I actually had this shit. This book was printed in 1920. 1920. And this is incredible. This book is 100 plus years old. They are not playing with us. These folks have no problem. And it's not 120, it's 103 or 104 years old. These folks really do mean to damage us. And it's all about the history. Now let's get into what I was looking at. Excuse me. The response to the white South at the onset of the radical Reconstruction has been aptly described as a counter-Reconstruction, rejecting the legitimacy of the Republican government based on Negro suffrage. White Southerners organized secretly and massively to destroy them. By the fall of 1868, there existed in Louisiana, as in other southern states, a vast shadowland of a secret paramilitary political clubs and societies. Knights of the White Camellia, Swamp Fox Rangers, the Innocents, Seymour Knights, Hancock Guards, and the seldom seen but widely rumored Ku Klux Klan. The Knights of the White Camellia ranked as the largest and most important of these, led by the best citizens and organized statewide. In many parishes, its member claimed half or more of the white males. The veil of secrecy shrouding these organizations concealed a fantasy world where respectable citizens like the heroes of a Thomas Dixon novel guarded the nest of the white eagle against the black vulture. In this paranoid realm, Negro uprisings were always imminent, and the carpetbagger and scalawag stereotypes of Reconstruction legend took a sinister reality. The need to restore white rule justified every means, every sadistic impulse, every enormity.
Yeah, it's pretty
Are you
sad.
hearing me? It says I'm
I hear you.
backstage.
No, you're here.
Okay, let me go.
You're right here on stage.
A few instances of intimidation and fraud marred the April elections of 1866. On the Upper Red River and a few other places, white kept Negroes from the polls, destroyed Republican tickets, and tampered with returns. None of this, though, prepared the new regime for the terrible ordeal of the presidential election. Starting in May and continuing through November, gangs of armed whites rode by day and night, spreading terror across the state. Among the first casualties was William R. Meadows, a literate ex-slave who had represented the Claiborne Parish in the Constitutional Convention. Assassins murdered him in his yard. And a neighboring parish, whites pulled a black leader from his home, shot him, and cut off his head. And St. Mary Parish, disguised whites entered a hotel in town of Franklin and publicly murdered the sheriff and judge with knives and pistols. A white Republican warned colleagues that unless almost daily murders of Union men in South and North Central Louisiana could be stopped and stopped soon, the Republican Party, aka Blacks people, is at an end. Unprecedented murders and outrages in Franklin Parish convinced local Unionists that their enemies intended to drive them out of the country or exterminate them. And an unsuccessful appeal to President Johnson for more federal troops, Warmoth estimated on August 1st that 150 persons had been killed in Louisiana since the middle of June. 2 weeks later, an investigator informed him that that estimate erred by half and that authentic evidence indicated that double the number of murders stated by you in your letter to the president. In other words, it's saying 300 people are murdered. The violence crested in the fall in a series of bloody massacres. In the Crescent City, the first serious clash occurred on September 22nd when white Democrats attacked a Republican procession. The last week in October, New Orleans resembled a major European city in the throes of a violent revolution. By day and night, white mobs roamed the city and its suburbs, robbing, beating, and killing Negroes, breaking up Republican clubs and processions, and ambushing and so intimidating the police that patrolmen feared to leave their station houses. The violence spread to neighboring St. Bernard Parish, where a series of clashes over 4 days left many people dead. Throughout the strife, hundreds of federal troops stood by passively, unable or unwilling to act. The estimates of death vary widely. Clearly, however, at least 60 people, mostly Black Republicans, died violent deaths between September 22nd and Election Day in St. Bernard, Jefferson, and Orleans Parish. The former Confederate capital of Shreveport was the largest town on the Red River, and nearly 50% of its population was Black. It was also one of the toughest places in Louisiana, a watering hole of rough traders and frontier bullies from Texas, Arkansas, and the Indian Nation. In late September, an intoxicated Arkansas trader stopped in a place called Shady Grove Plantation, 7 or 8 miles above the town in Bossier Parish. The trader asked if there were any radical Negroes about, and when a young Black boy pointed out an aged freeman, the man drew his pistol and fired 2 shots at the old man, missing each time. Blacks on the plantation formed a posse, seized the trader several miles up the road, returned him to the scene of the incident, chained him to a tree, not being overly gentle with the person. What happened next is not entirely clear, but it appears that 2 local whites tried to free the Arkansas man, quarreling with his captors, killed or wounded several of them, and were in turn killed or wounded themselves. Somehow, though, the traitor won his release, crossed the state line. The next morning, a small army of Arkansan toughs, estimated about 75 men, invaded Louisiana on a mission of vengeance. They shot up a neighboring plantation and then hit Shady Grove in a mass attack, killing blacks indiscriminately. In the meantime, reports of Negro outrages had reached Shreveport, and a second army of mounted whites set out for Shady Grove. Fortunately for anyone left alive there, an agent of the Freedmen's Bureau arrived on the scene first. However, the Shreveport mob had already murdered 9 blacks on the road as it rode north. All this occurred on October 1st, and it was only the beginning. By the morning of the following day, hundreds of armed whites scoured the woods and swamps above Shreveport, looking for blacks with guns. And the words of one historian, it was open season on Negroes in Caddo and Bossier parishes, and in the following weeks, residents of Shreveport counted 25 to 30 bodies floating past the town on the Red River. Between the first incident at Shady Grove and Election Day on November 3rd, at least 150 and perhaps 200 freedmen died violent deaths in the region. Two days before the Arkansas traitor stopped at Shady Grove Plantation, 3 Seymour Knights entered a crowded schoolroom in the town of Opelousas and severely caned the teacher, Emerson Bentley, for an article he had written in the St. Landry Progress. For Bentley, a young carpetbagger from Ohio, the incident marked the beginning of a harrowing 3-week flight, slipping from one house of concealment to another, and finally across the swamps of Grostet to safety in a skiff. Fearing Bentley had been murdered, alarmed blacks rushed to Opelousas after his assault, many carrying weapons. To the Knights of the White Camellia, several thousand strong, and St. Landry, there was at last the long-awaited Negro revolt. Superbly organized, they took over the town and demanded the weapons of the outnumbered blacks. No one knows who fired the first shot, but someone did, and the massacre started. It spread into the countryside, and for 3 days, heavily armed whites pursued their victims through the swamps and forests, shooting armed Negroes on sight. 150 or more Black Republicans died. State officials reported that the terrorists of 1868 killed 784 people and wounded and mistreated 450 more. A subsequent federal report estimated the dead alone at over 1,000. I'm going to stop there, people.
Okay.
They killed thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Black people were murdered. And that alone is enough for reparations for Louisiana, for them to murder people. And this happened in every state in the South, and it happened in the North. DeSantis and that barbaric nigger and that barbaric black bitch on that school thing are basically saying that this benefited us to be murdered, to be burned alive, to be hunted. We learned skills, learned skills of evasion being in swamps. We need to, this is war talk, people. People that stand up, and I'm going to just talk to Black men for a minute. I'm fucking angry with Black men because all these people I see going to the gym and they've got all this musculature and they got all these big, strong arms and shit. How come none of this power that you bitch-ass Black men boast about, none of it is devoted to protecting us from people who hate our guts? I'm sick and tired of all this flaunted Black male strength, and yet everybody fucks us. Everybody walks in us. Somebody's lying. So you're just like a Black man that can go in the army and kill for America all over the world, people that don't bother you, but you don't have any smoke for people who bother us here. I'm so sick and tired of Black macho. I hate it. It's useless. It doesn't do a goddamn thing for anyone. I'm not impressed. Please stop talking about being RBG. If we're not going to stand up and say to hell with this shit that we've been dealing with for 400 years, please sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up.
Thank you.
If you can't come together across the nation and say we're not going to live like this another 400 years, black men, you're bitches. You might have a big dick, you might have a big car, you may play sports, but you're a fucking slave and a cowardly slave. And you'll only fight another black man. You won't stand up to anyone white, and that's most of us. Our biggest disease for black men ain't AIDS or cardiovascular disease or diabetes. It's bitch-ass cowardice. And black men back then were at least trying to, but let's be honest, a lot of those niggas were scared. Can you imagine having a gun and running? Those people were running. They were not used to fighting. We have been told we can't fight. We can't stand up. We buy that. And I'm not trying to talk to anybody to hurt nobody. But at some point, you're going to have to stand up. In case you guys don't know, the black people are now fighting these white gangs in Chicago. I'm sorry, these Latino gangs, these gangsters that have been brought in by the cartels. There's a struggle coming to our homes. And for black women, if you think that you can hawk pussy to these folks will kill you and leave you in the trash bag. They kill their own women where they come from. You know what I'm talking about down in Juarez City? They have a dump where they put women after they screw and they throw them away. They've killed thousands of women. No one's been convicted. They come from a culture where women don't have as much value. A lot of these black women run around, ass hanging out, fucked up attitude like that bitch in Dubai that's in lockup, and her ass is not going to get let out. I have that on high account because I have friends that work with the royal family. This is a struggle for life, people. And you don't hear me preaching no biological racism. I don't think anybody's inferior to anybody else. I'm not doing ice people and snow people and all the sun people. I don't do that kind of shit. It's about I live, I have a right to breathe, I have a right to exist, right? And at some point, we're going to have to fight. It's unavoidable. They are begging for a fight. And let me tell you something. If you want to get messed with, show weakness. Show that you're a coward. Show that you won't stand up. Show that you can be messed with. You won't say anything if someone bothers your children. Huh? Now let me just do some more. And then we're going to just talk more about Florida. A good book, Nicholas Lehman. It's called Redemption. Redemption is the white people's word for mass killing and subjugating black people after the Civil War. The last battle of the Civil War. And it talks about how in Mississippi they went around terrorizing. Most people don't know that black people own 90% of the land in the Mississippi Delta prior to 1890. And within a decade, white people had taken 90% of the land and all that through killing, through violence, through guns. And black folks don't stand together in particular. There's no bitchier, cattier group of people on the planet. I'm not talking about black women. I'm talking about black men are such bitches. They're such fucking whores. You're dick whores. You get lots of pussy, but there's nothing else manly about you. Because real men fight to defend their children, fight to defend space. They build and construct stuff. They don't just talk about how strong and how bad they are. They actually mean something. These little short 4'11" Latinos run over black neighborhoods. And I'm not putting them down. They stand together as a unit. No matter what issues they have, they can come together on having a shared culture and defend space. Black men are going to have to get over being ball hogs or ball whores, where everything's about you. And kissing and doing whatever a person with a pussy says does not make you a man. It makes you a fucking simp, a faggonist. You're a weakling. You shouldn't be with the woman that always bosses you around. She should be following you. And all these men that think out here, a happy wife, happy life, you're a fucking liar. You're a weakling. You're a chump. And when that bitch takes you to divorce court, I hope they take everything from you. Show you for not standing up for anything. You've fallen for everything. One more book. This book is called Built from the Fire. And it talks about all the shit that black people went through in Tulsa and what's been happening since I just got this one. I'm so glad to have this. 100 years in the neighborhood that refused to be erased. And this is a real... in fact, that the courts down in Tulsa have said to the survivors that they're not owed anything. That's what DeSantis and all these people are basically saying. They're basically saying, fuck you niggas. We did it to you. Get over it. And we're going to keep doing it. And the Negroes that helped him basically saying, you heard what the man said. Fuck y'all. And they're going to keep doing it. And we're going to help them. And it's time for us to go to war with traitors and with enemies. They're both the same. If they're not working to uplift us, they're tearing us down. We don't have to do much more of this other than to say that DeSantis is now. It's interesting. There are three people that are standing up to DeSantis in a major way in the political realm. That's Congressman Tim Scott of South Carolina. I'm sorry, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, Congressman James, who's black from Michigan, and Congressman Byron Donaldson, who stood up to him. He's a Jamaican American standing up. The Congressional Black Caucus and all these other people are fucking disgraces to not do more. There should be something to happen to punish DeSantis in a major way. People are going to keep bothering us until we hurt them. To hell with Dr. King's philosophy about loving everybody. We need to hate folk for a couple months. That shit might get good to us and we'll keep doing it. Watch people stop bothering us. That's real ass talk. Let me take these fucking schoolboy glasses off. Go and put Malcolm X mode and shit. That's okay. I'll feel much better now. Look, DeSantis he has no following. He has no base. He's trying to nigger his way into office. It won't work. And we have a golden opportunity. I don't see DeSantis's activity as bad. I think he's done a good thing to show us how important our history is and how we can't let it be destroyed. If you destroy people's history, you therefore destroy the people. He's done us a favor. He's also done us a favor by showing us who doesn't stand in our community. And it's quite interesting that you have black Republicans who normally don't say shit standing up. Where are the black Democrats? All of you black folk out there, Democrats, you vote blindly for them. They should be doing major shit and they're not. Stupid ass Biden and at least Kamala Harris. Now there are two things that I can say I like about her. She's mouthed off at DeSantis and she's a hoe. I don't like anything else. Okay. All I'm going to say to you, Kamala Harris should not be the face of opposition to DeSantis. She's not even a black American. And I want to say, where are the black women denouncing that black bitch that's on that thing?
I wonder what happened if she showed up with her husband. That'd be hilarious.
All I'm going to say too is that we need to stand up. We need to get out of being the three monkeys. We need to see the evil, hear the evil, and speak against the evil. That's why those three monkeys are up there. Make certain that you're not one of them. I'm going to say this and I'm going to check it out because we've been at this for a minute, haven't we?
Yeah, about 2.5.
Yeah, well, we can stop here. I just want folks to wake up, wake the hell up, stand up, do something. Even if you're learning or teaching some young people, buy someone a book, get them to read a book. Children, if they were encouraged to read, now young black children are not encouraged to read, many of them cannot read. And as a result, they become fucked up old black men that troll and do stupid shit on the internet because they don't read well. You want to meet a fucked up individual, it's a black man that can't really read. There are a lot of them. They're really complicated. They hide behind the shit. They can't pronounce anything. And they're always trying to fit out the fact that they really can't read. And they can be kind of smart, but they're still kind of dumb. When it starts getting into printed shit, they get all defensive and shit. Well, man, don't talk all big around me. In reality, I'm too stupid to comprehend the shit you're saying. So I want everything dummied down so I can feel comfortable. And my lack of developing my damn mind and my vocabulary. You know, you don't want your dick small. Why would you want your brain to be pygmy size? Don't answer that, because that'll be something like, well, pygmy size brain, big size don't always matter. There'll be some stupid faggot simp to defend that. That's another reason they don't want us to know how to read or write. They don't want us to be able to analyze. You can rule people through keeping them stupid. This is Dr. Randy Short. If whether you like me or not, that's really not, I'm not trying to be famous. we were going to talk about Ice Cube for a second. I may as well.
Okay.
Before I go, I'm going to close out on Ice Cube. Ice Cube is an example of black folks that want to have it both ways, and you can't. You can't be an entertainer and you can't be popular and stand for what's right. To stand for what's right means you may have a lot of enemies. You may even have really important, great people hate your guts. You can't have it both ways. So I wasn't impressed by Ice Cube. Had he really been for real, he should have put Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Darity, and a whole bunch of heavies together and let them do the talking and simply created the platform by which that conversation, it looked really fucked up for us as a people that the only person that could get to discuss policy under which we're ruled is a fucking entertainer, a fucking performer. I'm not saying he's not a rich businessman. That's not the point. No, people allow entertainers who still actively entertain that don't have a commitment to politics. They don't carry any weight. Have we had some people that have been entertainers that have been political, that have been outspoken, like Paul Robeson? Yes, but Ice Cube ain't no Paul Robeson. He's not a Harry Belafonte. He's not even a Sidney Poitier or even a Sammy Davis. I'm sorry. You've never been that relevant in terms of policy or standing up. You are a creation of the Jewish people who run the entertainment business. And you need to fess up and face up to it. And the fact that you didn't get $9 million, the fact that people are offering you $9 million should let us know that you have money. And there are a lot of people who turn down more money than you, standing up for principle. Money isn't everything, but the people from the rap game have lied to people for 40 years that money and fame is everything. It's a fucking lie. Money and fame are part. Money answers all things the scriptures say, but money isn't all things. Sometimes dignity, decency, integrity matter. In fact, it should at all times. So there were people talking about folks canceling Ice Cube. Ice Cube has been out here the better part of 40 years. That's a hell of a run. There are far more talented performers, actors, and everything else out here, black, who've never had 20 or 30-year runs, who stood for something. Or even if they didn't, they just didn't get it. So they have used this hip-hop group, this rap group, have done more damage to our people than anything I can point to. It's been a weapon against us. And why did you go to Tucker Carlson? Why couldn't you go to Professor Black Truth or Tariq or to some platforms that were authentically black and share what? Because you were there to make nice, to get back on the plantation. Ice Cube is asking to get back on the plantation. Look, you have enough money, start your own shit, start your own studio. Even punk ass Dr. Dre has his own shit. Completely disagree with him on everything, but he has his own. Why not, Ice Cube? These people don't want a black nation. They just want a safe place on the white plantation. And you saw that as a fast way to make you relevant and get more people interested in you. You had no idea that these white folks are playing a deadly game the same way they're promoting guns and sodomy and eating a nigga's ass and all this other stuff that's going to cause throat cancer. These are deadly serious people, and how they see us and what they want to do to us. They've enriched you. They've built you up to deceive us. You aren't there. I mean, you can be a rich ass slave, but you better not be too free in your thoughts. You're in the wrong place. Who's the dude that has this movie, Mel Gibson? Where are the black Mel Gibson type people who make real shit that they don't care what anybody thinks? Since you're so strong and black and big, then damn it, why not come forward on that? You could probably find some people to invest and make some real shit. You'd probably make more money, but you're with the safe bet to stay with the people who have helped you become rich. what you're white. You mouthed off and you went somewhere that you had the right to go. And we didn't disagree with you. But to try to crawl back to them, that's going to be as successful as Malcolm getting back to the Nation of Islam after he came out against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You've crossed the bridge, fool. And if you get canceled, it happens. It happens to people. People's asses get canceled. You've had a hell of a ride. You're a wealthy man. Who's that other person? Sorry ass Snoop Dogg. Yeah, a lot of y'all have, been embarrassment and clowns and all this stuff. They've done nothing for us as a people. You had a chance to be, if you wanted to be, a symbolic or major presence to Black people, and you looked at it and the price was too high. So it shows that you're cheap in what you think about your own people, and you're stingy. You're worried about your own fame, your own acclaim. You should have never come out there. If it's just about you, just keep cutting records, making films, keeping people distracted. If you were going to stand up and be counted, if you're going to do some Kaepernick shit with all the issues I have with Kaepernick, I will say this. 8 years into it, whether he's a plant or not, he keeps doing Black stuff. How does a half-breed that don't really know who he is be more relevant than a nigga from the hood that's 100% FBA? How is that?
He has a look. He's marketable.
No, Ice Cube is marketable. He's generated more money than Kaepernick.
Well, I'm talking about they like that look with the little exotic fro and the whole body to barge look with the fist up and the football uniform. We can talk about colorism, but the issue is whether they like that or not. They're always going to do what they're going to do. What are you going to do? When you go to the bathroom and you're in a public restroom and so on, are you worried about how many bombs they're going to drop or the poop that comes out of your ass? Are you listening to hear whether they're going to wipe, or do you just wipe yourself and make certain that you wash your hands if you wash your hands after you shit in the public restroom? What do you do? Why are we so concerned about everybody else and not concerned about self? Why are we so externally motivated? That's sick. It's a sickness. So if that brother in any way had been sincere, he has a whole lot of money. He could have said, you know what? Even sorry ass P. Diddy, who I can't stand, when they're talking about rock the vote, whether he was given the money or not, he found some. They said they're going to do something to get people to vote. It was bullshit, but they put some money on it. That dude should have said, we're going to have a reparations institute. I'm gonna raise $1 million or $2 or $3 million. So we're going to have heavy people and we're going to sit out and generate and do stuff around policy for reparations. That's what I'm going to do. I don't have to be there. I can go shake my ass and sing, sell records. I don't even have to be there. I know that these people are committed. Claude Ants and other people have been doing this shit for decades. I know that they'll do it if they simply had the kind of thrust. And I'm going to use my little bit to bring some star power to this effort on reparations. He could have done that, and he didn't even have to say much. He didn't have to come, hey, look, don't ask me about the 10 points. Let's talk to some experts that really know econ, who really know what's going on in the Black community. Let them talk about it. Have you noticed when you talk to me, brother, the minute you go into something, when I don't know, I tell you, look, let me go and get the expert that knows. I don't know. I don't need to know it all. God has it all, and God brings people into your life that you know that you can connect to, and they can tell you. You start asking me about certain herbs and all, I'm going to go and start getting my naturopathic people to talk to you, because I don't want to give you and be big and impress you. It's not about impressing you. The most important thing we can do is for God to be pleased with us, not to try to impress other people. And it also says if people are good, folks will thank God for your goodness. They don't have to thank me or you. So, for all those folks crying for these Black celebrities, save your tears, economize, because had they really been serious, they would have been doing stuff a long time ago. Black folks have been driven out of LA since NWA and all these people had all kinds of opportunities to speak up, to say something for homeless people, to say something about police brutality beyond selling records off of it. Have they done much? Mm-mm. Have you heard of anything? Mm-mm.
I mean, and I'm certain that people have had $100,000 parties, $1 million parties. We see this shit that people do. Maybe you've invested the money wisely. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm happy. I'm not mad that you're rich. Be rich. But don't go into leadership if you're not prepared to sacrifice. That's my same beef with the Negroes in the Congressional Black Circus, or the National Association for the Advancement of Confused People, or the National Asshole Network, or the National Congress of Black Churches. All these people are saying one thing, but it shows what you see in substances that they really don't give a damn. They're not really concerned about the people that they're collecting money and such for. This thing hitting reparations right now. By now, some celebrities know about 4321. Why aren't they saying shit? Cut a song. You know, what's his name? The one who, forgive me for forgetting his name. He's from Jackson, Tennessee. And why am I forgetting this guy's name? But the one, and his name flashed through my thoughts again. The one who did, what's the word, Johannesburg, and
that's Gil Scott Heron.
Yeah, Gil Scott Heron.
Mm-hmm.
Gil Scott Heron and these other musicians and artists, they would say something now and then. Even Marvin Gaye off of cocaine and so forth. What's going on? These people now, these musicians, y'all are sorry, y'all are fake. Y'all are users, y'all are white supremacists, you're liars. Y'all won't risk or sacrifice nothing because you don't give a fuck, you're fat and comfortable. And proof of that is the minute you get a little pushback, you whining. You're running to Tucker Carlson. And you're trying to someone told you, your management told your ass, you better get yourself back on the plantation, boy. These people aren't free, they're rich ass slaves. I like money and so do you. You need money. But I'll tell you something. Freedom is important. Integrity and dignity is important. And a lot of these people, whether it's Lizzo or whatever, they may have more resources than we do, but they're spiritually bankrupt and depleted. And I'm going to rest my case there. This is Dr. Randy Short on the 31st day of July, 2023. Saying don't trust celebrities. They're not leaders. They've shown themselves to literally be subversive enemies to us, either intentionally or unintentionally. What can you do is that we need to stop supporting people who don't speak up for us. White folks like that dude that started that Bud Light protest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he stood up. We don't have nothing like that right now. And the people that you do see, like you, my brother, or someone like me, folks should be throwing some resources to us. Why? Because we've shown for practically free. We'll put the shit out there. We'll risk our ass over what we believe in. We need to divest from coons, from traitors, from sellouts, from weaponized entertainers and people who basically are on the white social media welfare tit that never want to speak up. So that's what I have to say. You can bless me. This is Dr. Randy Short, president of the Black American Constitutional Political Action Committee, also known as BACPAC. BACPAC, BACPAC.info. Sign our petition. Drop us a contribution. If you're looking for me, Dr. Randy Short, you can find me. I have a GoFundMe for BACPAC. Also, you can bless me through Dr. Randy Short, DrRandyShort. Dr. Randy Short at Cash App, again, DrRandyShort. Or you can send through Zelle or PayPal, wrandyshort@gmail.com. 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 And I encourage anybody, I have a PDF that I happily send out to people. It's called The Pink Swastika. It shows the link between LGBTQ and Nazism. I've been sending that to people all over. Email me and I'll send that out to you as soon as I get your email at WRandyShort. No, you don't have to give me a contribution for that. I didn't write the book, but people need to be empowered. Look for me. I'm in Facebook, I'm in Instagram, I'm in LinkedIn, and I have some channels. I'm hoping perhaps this month if I have the courage to just go back and start talking about books and ideas and what I call the Angry Black Men's Book Club. I hope you join me. I hope you support me. And by the way, like this channel. He has now 3,000 followers. He needs 5,000. I want to thank those people that joined. You remember, you've come up a little bit, brother, since we started doing these. I want everybody that likes Dr. Randy Short to support this brother here. And he's a fantastic artist. Buy from him, like this, or as the host say in DC, liked it, liked it, liked it, liked it. This show, share it, share it, share it, share it. And I look forward to when I do a program in the future that we get 2,000 or 3,000 viewers. Most of the videos I do get about 3,000 to 9,000 views. And so support other people, support channels that don't have 50 or 100,000 people. Thank all of you for listening. I gotta go. Good night. And if you want any ideas on books, always reach out to this brother. We can do this again. And love people, love yourself, love your children, love God. Reparation starts with you. And in the holy words of the new movement, MFM, which stands for motherfucking money, I want mine and you need yours too. MFM and good night, people.
Are there any special appearances you're going to be making that you want people to know about?
Well, if people are looking for content, I'm on Let's Talk LETSTLK 2 on YouTube, and I'm on Afro Elite on YouTube. I'm in Twitter. My one thing is Kuna Bomber. The other one is Salt. We do stuff with Sister Eve, and we'll be doing more. I've been careful because we get censored so heavily. You know, they've taken they've taken like 2 or 3 Twitter accounts, 4 Facebook accounts, 3 YouTube accounts. I get put off all the time. But if you want to reach me or contact me, I'm in Facebook. Trust me. Google me. I'm the best known person with the name Randy Short in the world out of 8-some billion people. If you put Randy Short in, I'll be the first person that you find out of 8 billion people. I don't know. I've made somebody's ass mad that I come up first. So, yeah, I would love to hear from people. I want to thank all the folks. I have no idea when I get these books, I can't even afford to keep up with the information I need to have. So I want to thank all the people that blessed me. Defending the Master Race, that was a $100 book. The book on Josiah Knott of Mobile, that was a $100 book. The Crucible of Reconstruction was a $50 book. The Post-Exceptionalist Perspective on Early American History was a $60 book. Just to have this information to be able to share it to people, and there's nowhere else. I try to buy them as cheaply as possible to share and diffuse what I'm getting. People's donations have enabled me to share this with others. So when you buy a book from me, I share it. It's not hoarded. And pray for me. Let's pray for each other. Pray that our people wake up and start fighting against this beast before it eats us all.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Short, and I'm looking forward to the next collab.
MFM and Muha Branca, you know what I just said. You guys stand up. Yeah, we can win if we want to, and it doesn't take everybody. MFM, everybody, and I want to let y'all know. Oh, backpack. Check that out. We want to work with people. If you're an activist, we're looking at ways to get stuff done across the country. And we're new, so we're on the ground floor. Let's communicate. Let's see. Can't be anything crazy, but if it's serious, reach out. You have a way to contact me. Just don't come with dumb stuff. I'm not doing dumb. If it's rational and intelligent, and it's sincere, and there's integrity, and folks aren't gaming, perhaps we can work together. We can point you to. I don't mind doing consulting. Some consulting I'll charge you for, but let's do what we can. And again, the most important thing that anyone can do now is tell everybody about 4321 and call your congressmen, call people, if enough of us get tired of this, we can stop this and we can stop Alec altogether. Let me get off here. I need to get some sleep. I thank everybody for your time. How many people watching? 15? I may have made them.
It went down to 47. So.
Oh, wow. Let me let these people sleep. Brother, when I do get my Angry Black Men's Book Club, do you promise to promote me?
Most definitely, for sure.
Okay, let me go. I'll talk to you.
All right. Thank you for coming, Dr. Short. And thank you, everybody, supporting this last minute adjustment on the Sunday Chalk Talk. But again, so I see you guys on Tuesday, and I'm going to try to just keep this Sunday thing going on every Sunday and keep it interesting. All right. So thank you for coming out. Peace and hair grease.